Welcome to Fiction Audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, like and subscribing would be greatly appreciated. If you have any recommendations for novels, comment below.
Please join my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/fictionaudiobook.
Chapter 68, Small Girl. A lot of people are asking me how long the arc will take. It will take a while to say the least. So if you don't like Bleach, then I recommend you stop here for a while and come back next year or something. I have no intention to rush this. Hades POV. I challenge you to a fight, the small girl in front of me said with a serious expression. I raise one eyebrow to show my confusion. I don't even know this girl and yet she just outright challenges me to a fight. Who would do such a thing? What's your name, little girl? I ask her. There is no need to start fighting without knowing someone's name, right? Yachiru. Yachiru Anohana. And I challenge you to a fight. Are you ready? Because I will start now. Aarrrhhh, the girl screams and attacks me with her sword. I can already tell that it is not her sword and that she probably picked it up from somewhere. Oh bother. The young Anohana begins to swing her sword, which is not really hers, around like a baton. There is no skill involved, but surprisingly, she attempts to use some form of technique. She probably saw some moves be used and now tries to copy them. She is failing horribly though. However, the girl surprised me. Her talent is phenomenal in the use of the sword. As we fight, which is more her swinging her sword around and me dodging it all, I can see improvements. She is picking up on certain things that don't seem to work as she tries to hit me. I am impressed. What I'm also impressed by is the high amount of bloodlust coming off of her, even though she is such a small child. Age works differently in the Soul Society, but she looks to be about 8 or 9, maximum 10. But she still has such bloodlust, quite troubling. Arg, stop running away and face me, she screams at me. It seems the frustration has gotten to her finally. It is impressive that she managed to keep a cool head this long, considering her age. And why would I do that? I ask her. What's the fun in fighting if you just run away? There is no fighting then and I want to cut something. Then pray tell, why did you choose me as your opponent? This makes her stop for a moment. She begins to think about it, but comes up with nothing. She has no idea why she challenged me, it would seem. I don't know. You seem like a fun fight. And that's what it's all about. Having fun and cutting people down. It makes me smile and then I feel so good. So we are going to fight and stop running away, she says. That's quite concerning, little Yachiru. You should not be out in the Rakangai, swinging a sword that is not yours. Loving to fight is not a bad thing, but letting yourself be consumed by your bloodlust is dangerous and will eventually lead to your death. What does that mean? It means you will die if you continue to challenge random strangers that feel strong. Because out here in the Rakangai, only the strong survive and you are not strong yet. So it would be better to stop this for now and grow up first. I heard there is a new food supplier that will give you food for free. Yeah. I heard about that, but I want to fight. What am I going to do about that? Whenever I see someone strong, I can't help but want to fight him or her, and it just doesn't stop until I have spilt some blood and killed them. Yar, that is quite concerning, young Yachiru. How about this, you can come every day to my house and then we will have our daily spar. However, you will have to learn some other things from me as well. That is the condition that I am presenting to you. If you accept, then we can start tomorrow and we'll see where it leads us. What do you say? I ask her. I agree with the fighting, but the other thing, no, she says. Well, that's too bad. It's a package deal. Either yes to both or no to both as well. Then. I agree. Very good. All right, come with me. I'll show you where I live, I told her, and then led her to my mansion. I told her to come here the next day and we would begin with her fights and training. Yachiru really came the next day and I showed her around the training area. She was very excited and couldn't wait to fight against me. All right. Before we fight, we are going to set some ground rules though, I said. Ugh, I don't want to fight with any rules. I want to kill and SPI dash. Yes, I know. But that is not how this will work. First, you will listen to me. When I say we are done, we are done. There is no whining or whatever that you might think of. Second, you will study other things after we are finished here with training. Should you not do that, we are done and you are not allowed to come again. Is that understood? Yes. Good. Well, apart from that, there is only one other thing, I say, and have her sword appear in my hand. I look up and down, and when I see her panicked state, I stop with what I was going to do. Is this sword special to you in any way? Does it belong to anyone you knew or something like that? Because if not, then it is time for you to move on and take an Asachi of your own, I tell her. No. I did know the person it belonged to, but she wasn't special to me, she said. You are a terrible liar. I don't like lying. So from now on, no more lying. If this katana is important to you, then we'll leave it here for now. You can grab it when you leave this afternoon. But you will still need your sword, I say and put the katana to the side. I then walk to the weapons rack and take 2 bakken from there to train with. She will have to go through the correct stances, but with her bloodlust and will to fight, she won't stop bothering me until I have shown her a place. All right. Here, take this bakken for now. Even though you are a fierce warrior already, you will have to train with this bakken for the time being, I say. Why? I want to fight with real swords. She is angry, it seems. I don't care though and simply tell her the truth. Well, the truth of the matter is this: you are weak and I am strong. So strong in fact that you wouldn't understand right now. So if I say that you are not ready for a real sword, then the reason for that is that for you to reach higher levels of strength, you will start from the bottom. Now take the bakken and get in the same position as me, I said. She got in the same position as I did and I began to show her different stances that were meant to build her foundation as well as serve as the first introduction of Zenjutsu. I have gotten a lot better at teaching since the first time with Shigekuni. After 30 minutes, Yuichiro was drenched in sweat and almost couldn't keep conscious anymore. I had a smile on my head when I saw that. The little girl had experienced something that made her this bloodlusted and she had developed quite a strong will due to that. I was not going to tell her what she should and shouldn't do, that was her decision. The female Zanpakuto who acted as a maid, called Fujin, carried Yuichiro to the bathhouse for females. There she took care of her and waited for her to wake up. The young girl was very tired and slept for 8 hours straight. I knew that she was tired, but this was not just the tiredness from training, this was more, and I was happy that she slept. After 8 hours of sleeping, Yuichiro came to the table to eat late lunch. She was famished and didn't trust the food at first. She must have been living in quite harsh conditions. But that should not be the case anymore. I made sure to provide most of the Rakangai with enough food. If it wasn't that, then there had to be something else. But it wasn't important for now. So, how are you feeling? I asked her. Refreshed, she said timidly. I smiled at her response. It seemed she was still a small child. All right then. We can then begin your lessons in the afternoon. Do we have to? Can't we train again? She pleaded. Yes, we have to, and no, we cannot. But if it makes you feel better, then just think of it as mental training. The smarter you get, the better and faster you will be in future fights. I don't want to, she said, and I was faced with my first ever parenting-like situation. But unlike other parents, I had a safe way to solve this problem. Intimidation. She will do what I tell her to, or else. I wasn't going to do anything to the girl. I wouldn't manage that. But she didn't know that. I was going to try using words first, but then, we'll see. You will do it nonetheless because that was our deal. You don't intend to break our deal, do you? I ask her. It was not my deal but your deal. I only want the training. I see, then are you willing to go back on your word? Remember, once you lie or go back on your word, no one will be able to trust your word again. And that means, our deal is over as well and you will go back to where you came from without training with me. Is that what you want? No. Then will you uphold your end of the deal? Yes. Good. Then let's go. You still have much to learn, I told her, and we went to the study room. The time studying with Yuichiro was strangely enjoyable. I liked to answer her questions, and teaching her how to do calculus as well as read and write was also enjoyable. It was a blast to see her improve thanks to my efforts. It was a small taste of what it would feel like to be a parent. And I couldn't help but be excited for that time. Unlike other fathers, I had no interest in leaving anywhere or going away from home to do my job. My job was my home and I would take the time to teach my kids all the things I can. Senjimaro POV. Well, I got an interesting quest today. I'm not sure why though. And not a day too soon either. My patient staying up here was wearing thin and my will to grind was too. So when this new quest arrived, I couldn't help but be happy. Quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 1. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. Quest requirements. Create 10,000 special cloths. Create 1,000 different puppets and use them in dungeons. Reach Shirkai, LV, rewards. 1. Gain 1 special item. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. I couldn't wait to get to work. This sounded like an interesting reward. A special item and the undisclosed reward. I never got anything that was bad for me. Anything that the system/Hades gifted me was somehow useful in one way or the other. So this was interesting and I just had to finish this. Chapter 69, Kotaku no Ken. Third-person POV. The years passed in the usual routine. Yamamoto was making a name for himself. He was getting very famous as one of the strongest Shinigami ever, and that was not a lie. He truly was a monster with his Zanpakuto. But he also didn't neglect his other skills. Every once in a while when Yamamoto went to visit Iman with his wife, they would spar together and Iman would make sure that Yamamoto's armed and unarmed combat was still improving or at least not getting any worse. Whenever it seemed that Yamamoto was slacking off and only using the power of Ryujin Jaka, Iman would beat him black and blue and have him train with him for days without rest. Nobitsuna Shigeo was also getting rather famous. Not as much as Yamamoto because he wasn't a natural leader like Yamamoto was. Yamamoto's charisma and strength of character made him stand out and pull people in, strangely. But Nobitsuna didn't have that. He liked to spend his time fighting and also going about his other interests, women. Iman had already told Nobitsuna not to focus on women and rather spend his time productively, but Nobitsuna realized that Iman was just depressed whenever he saw Nobitsuna with a woman because he missed Senjumaru. And that was true. Iman was trying to hold out on seeing her before she wanted to do that. Iman had kept track of Senjumaru's progress over the years and saw her navigate through life as a gamer and a seamstress. He was very proud of her and knew that if she continued on the special quests he had created especially for her, then she would become truly powerful. So powerful in fact that he could take her with him to the DC universe without her feeling inferior. Since he had known about Senjumaru's plans to join the Dumb Zero division and protect the puppet that used to be his friend, he thought about what to do. He knew that she wanted to get powerful on her own, but that would not make her nearly as powerful as she wanted to be. The Bleach world was strong, but it was nowhere near enough when compared to the dangers of the DC universe. So he gave her the system the day she left. It was the best way to get strong on her own and still have some form of control and be able to help her. He planned the special quests to help her grow stronger in a field that she liked and that fit her. Iman had planned for a while now to remove the three sisters known as the Morai, or the three fates, from existence. He hated those three for messing with everything that they thought they could. Everything had to go as they wished and it turned his family against him. He didn't care about Zeus or Métis, he didn't even care about Hera or Poseidon. But he was sad about Hestia and Demeter, who he invested so much time in to raise, and the moment the fates fuck around they change his sisters to the way they were before. So they were going to pay, and you can believe that. The question of who would then fill the role never crossed his mind before he met Senjumaru. He would take the position himself and be done with it. But now he knew that giving all that power to his future wife was the best thing he could do. But he didn't want to push it on her. He wanted to tell her about his plans to kill the three F***CKs and then offer her the position they held. You might be wondering why he didn't want to offer Senjumaru the power of the fates. Well, when Senjumaru got to the last special quest, she would not only be able to take it for herself if she wanted, but she would probably be stronger than them by that point. Yes. Iman's special quest for Senjumaru was that broken. But don't get your panties in a twist, he made the rewards proportional to the difficulty of the quests. The difficulties would gradually rise and the opponents she would have to face or the quest requirements would become harder and harder. But in the end, everything was made the perfect way for Senjumaru to grow and gain power. He saw that she was close to finishing the second quest and getting her rewards. But it was still some time before that would happen. Iman made sure that her opponents were either strong enough to face her or they were stronger than their original so that it was hard for Senjumaru to win. Yachiru Unohana was growing up nicely. She was truly a prodigy with the sword. Her battle lust had somewhat dimmed, but she still loved to fight and would spend days doing nothing else. After a few years of training with Iman, she didn't come every day anymore. She'd rather fight real people who give her a feeling of a challenge. What this meant was that she liked the uncertainty of whether she could win or if she would die. When fighting Iman, she was sure that she would lose. Every single time. But when fighting against someone other than Iman, there was the chance of death that she seemed to love. Nothing was certain, and that was the thrill of the fight. Nobitsuna POV. I was currently standing in front of Iman in the training field. It was the open one without anything else in it. I came here today to show him the progress I made with my Zanpakuto. It has been a while since I got this Zanpakuto, but I was never able to activate Shirkai no matter how long I meditated. Iman was trying to get me to calm down, to have me go inside my inner world and speak with my Zanpakuto spirit. But I was just unable to get into the right mindset. That was until just recently when I almost lost against that midget of a woman. I managed to get into a calm state just before I was about to die. I heard a voice that called out to me. I found out that it was my Zanpakuto spirit calling to me and wanting me to hear it. So when I finally did, I was happy about that. I didn't feel like a whole fighter without knowing my Zanpakuto's blade. I didn't always think like this. Iman taught me that arrogance was a fighter's doom. He said that a true fighter uses every tool available to them and doesn't care whether it would make a fight unfair. There is no such thing as fair and unfair in a fight. Just winners and losers. So no matter what, I would not be able to call myself a true fighter if I neglect my Zanpakuto. At first, I didn't agree with him, but he said he also knew the name of his Zanpakuto. If anyone was a fighter, it was Iman. So that convinced me to try and communicate with my Zanpakuto. And now, after years of being unsuccessful, I finally have my own shuriken. Release your venomous sting, Kataku no Ken, the venomous blade. As I released my shuriken, my Zanpakuto began to release a purple poisonous mist. The surroundings begin to take on a purple color as the concentration of my poison increases. The edge of my Zanpakuto begins to drip poison, but in a fluid state. Kataku no Ken is a very vicious and dangerous Zanpakuto. But not only for my enemies. I am also susceptible to the effects of the poison. Thankfully, my Zanpakuto grants me a very high amount of resistance, but it is not immunity. Basically, my shuriken grants me 3 things. Venomous strike. When Kataku no Ken cuts an opponent, the blade releases potent venom into the wound. The venom induces weakness, paralysis, and hallucinations, making it difficult or impossible for the victim to fight effectively. This depends on the amount of Ryoryoku someone has. The more concentrated someone's Ryoryoku is, the less damage the venomous strike does and the longer it takes to take effect. Toxic aura. Kataku no Ken can emit a poisonous mist, creating an area around me that weakens and slows down anyone within its radius. The longer an opponent stays within this mist, the more potent the effects become. Serpentine attack and defense. Kataku no Ken can create a defensive barrier made of swirling toxic mist, making it difficult for opponents to approach. The mist can also corrode and weaken any projectiles that come into contact with it. Overall, these should be the powers Kataku no Ken has, but I don't have access to all of them right now and only in a weak form. But I only wish to showcase it to Iman and not defeat him with it. I am curious though how he will fare against Kataku no Ken's poison. Iman only stands there and looks at me as I begin to pump more and more poisonous mist into the air and into my blade. He is holding his cane in front of him and watches me prepare. He is in no hurry right now and only shows interest. I know that he is strong, but this is just blatant disrespect towards my Zanpakuto. I rush towards him and slash. The fluid poison splashes all around in an arc. But it misses Iman as he dodges to the side. It seems he understands or at least guesses what the powers of my Zanpakuto are, due to its name. I tried again to slash him but with no luck. He keeps dodging. And we get nowhere due to him not attacking me. I smile at this tactic because I must believe that I am also weak to the poison in the area. But he is wrong, this amount is still nothing to me. I can't wait for him to notice the effects of the poison mist that is everywhere right now. The fight can take a while though, and I try to make him use more of his spirit energy. I begin to gather the poison mist around me and it begins to move in a circular pattern. I concentrate and will the shape to take on a giant snake. As I focus, Iman is still only looking at me and waiting for the attack to come. I finish my preparation and then attack him with the poison serpent. The poison serpent's head is nearly 3 times my size and dwarfs Iman. It rushes towards him and bites down. However, just as it is about to bite him, I hear him speak. Shikaho. I watch as a small red orb of energy collides with the poison serpent and then makes the entire thing explode from the inside. All the poison is evaporated due to the high temperature. The poison of Kataku no Ken is highly flammable and Iman used that against the attack. Did you think I was so easy to defeat, Nobitsuna? You wish to defeat me, train for another million years. That F***Ker. Hades POV. After that little show of Nobitsuna's shuriken abilities, we sat in the garden and enjoyed some refreshments and food, which Kikimaru prepared. You have an impressive Zanpakuto, Nobitsuna. If you continue to train, you will become one of the most powerful Shinigami and one of the most feared and dangerous as well. That poison was very potent and someone with less spirit energy than me would have surely been affected. There are weaknesses, however. You are not immune to your own poison. From what I saw, you do have a high resistance but not immunity. I believe you can train to increase your resistance with time. So you should try and expose yourself to your poison in short bursts and increase the amount slowly. As for the second weakness, well, it is fire. Any ability that concerns high amounts of heat or fire is dangerous for you. Yamamoto would smoke you with his shuriken, literally. So don't try and use your poison mist without knowing what your opponent can do. Other than that, I believe you have a marvelous Zanpakuto. Chapter 70, Chojiro Sasakaibe. Yamamoto POV. So you wish to found an academy for young Shinigami to learn how to fight and defend themselves. Well, I find that commendable. You are already teaching some, so making it official and professional is a good idea, Gojo-sensei said. I was relieved about that. I wasn't sure whether he would agree to let me teach things that were originally from him. He was the one to come up with many of the things that I was taught, and normally this is not something that you would want to have others spread. If you believe that I am so petty as to not allow it because you might teach things that I taught you, then you don't have to worry. I find it a splendid idea and long overdue. Of course, there are some things that I don't wish for you to teach just like that. I believe you know what I'm talking about, Sensei said. Yes, I understand. I wasn't planning on teaching your own special Kido anyway. Those are too dangerous for normal Shinigami to handle. So that won't be taught. I am planning to teach Senjutsu, Hakuda, and Ho-Ho. Kido is not really something I excel in, but I will do the introductions to Kido, I explained. Yes, that seems like a wise idea. I'm sure that you'll find others who might also teach in this academy of yours. You could become the head instructor, so you keep full authority over all the things that happen inside. And at the same time, you will learn how to lead and delegate things. Your wife could help you with that. That's not a bad idea, Sensei. She has been bothered by the fact that she doesn't see me as much as she likes. So giving her responsibility is a good idea. I was always doing a lot of things and Aiko was unhappy about that. I guess it is a good idea to have her close to me. I do miss her as well. So with Gojo-sensei's approval, I can begin my plans to build an academy. I think I'll call it Shinigami Academy. That is simple and makes the most sense. How is your training going, Shigekuni? Sensei asks me. Well, I didn't have the time to train all that much in the last years, but it is coming along nicely. I have finally achieved Bankai. But it is still not at its maximum potential. I can feel there is still more that I can do. I see. Well, you have become stronger. Your quest for protecting the Soul Society is coming along nicely as well. But don't neglect your training. There is so much you can do with your Shurkai alone, so don't forget to hone it as well. Relying on only one part of your strength is not strength, but weakness. I know that. Sensei always tells me these things and I know them already. I just can't come to understand what he means exactly. How would anyone do something about my Bankai? That seems like an impossibility. Hades POV. Interesting. I seem to be at least 2,100 years before the start of the story. It is truly impressive how Yamamoto was the most powerful Shinigami to appear in his lifetime. He had to have been roughly 3,000 years old in the story. Because Anohana looked virtually the same as she did in her youth. So she either had a method to halt her aging with Kaido or Shinigami aged slower up to 60 or something. Because Yamamoto looked to be at least 50 years old when he fought against Iwak. But I was more impressed with his power over the time I knew him. He is truly the strongest Shinigami, save for Ichibe, but Ichibe doesn't count as he is not. Well, that is something for the future. I have come to a very troubling and sad realization. And I will deal with it when the time comes. More and more characters who I know are being born or getting attention. Yachiru is already a teenager, at least in her looks. She has taken it upon herself to fight as much as she can and spill a lot of blood. I don't know whether I made any progress in trying to tone her bloodlust down, but I dread how she had to have been in the original. There is also a young woman with long, dark pink hair tied up in 2 hip-length pigtails on either side of her head. Another future captain in the making. She was constantly challenging people who she saw as strong. Nobitsuna and her already had their first fight and it turned out to be his win. I can't wait to see when some of the younger characters come. I am interested to find out how a young Sosuke Aizen was or what the deal was with the ISE family. Because right now, they are a boring and unassuming family. I guess Otsa hasn't made the ancestral sword for them yet. I wonder how that sword/weapon would fare against me. I'll see when the time comes. For now, I focus on my love's progress. It seems like she is close to finishing her first quest. That's good. She is getting stronger and stronger. I am proud of her. But little does she know, the real challenges start with the second quest. I made sure to gradually make the quests harder and harder, but to also give her some breathing room. She can try the quests over and over again. It is training in itself. What I mean by that is that I made the quest to challenge Senjomaru. Her power and love for sewing has so much potential. She will surely grow into someone who can stand proud in the world of DC. I made sure of that. Those disgusting Fate Sisters are going to die. And Senjomaru, if she wants, will take their powers and position. The first quest is only to give Senjomaru a good base. Have her train the basics again to a high level, so that she can use them in her fights going forward. The first quest is made up of 3 parts. The first is to create special clothes with properties that she chooses. The requirement is 10,000, but it doesn't say that they have to be different. She can theoretically make 10,000 copies of an outfit that has fire resistance or something like that. But I know that she won't do that. I can see that she is really trying hard with this one. The second requirement is to create 1,000 different puppets and use them in dungeons. Every day, the daily quest for her to become strong grants her 1 dungeon key. The dungeons are harder, depending on her level. So for her to create 1,000 puppets and then have them fight in dungeons is quite a feat. I just want her to focus on this skill, because it is very versatile and powerful. The last requirement is for Senjumaru to level her Shurikai to LV.100. That might not seem like much, since she already was close to LV.90, but it's not like that. Leveling up after 90 is very hard, and it takes for her to really understand her Zanpakuto and her Shurikai to reach LV.100. But that is all going to be done very soon. And then she can focus on other things. Yamamoto POV. I walk out of my home after having told Aiko about my plans to create a Shinigami Academy. She is delighted. I am also happy that I can be closer to her from now on, hopefully. After having talked with Gojo-sensei, I am looking forward to founding the academy. Sensei also thinks that it's a good idea since I already teach a few people anyway. Master Isekai. Master Isekai Yamamoto, I hear a voice say behind me. I can feel a vein on my head throb as I hear that name. I turn around and see a young man. He had short, light hair and short eyebrows. He wore the standard Shinigami uniform with a white robe over it which was clasped at the front by a simple knot. Hey! Don't call me Isekai, I scream. Forgive me, sir, he says and kowtows. I don't like that name. For some reason, I am called Isekai, due to the scar on my forehead. The scar is shaped like the Japanese character EI. Each time I distinguish myself in battle with another rogue Shinigami or a Hollows, the name Isekai becomes more and more popular and more people use it. Normally I don't really care about that, but, Master Isekai, I cannot be so audacious as to call you by your real name, the boy says. What is it with you, anyway? You're not even one of my students and yet, you hang around here every day, I say. He is getting on my nerves. He won't stop turning up here nearly every day and calling me Isekai. I come hoping to be your right-hand man, he says. In that case, all the more reason for you to become my student. If you rise to the rank of master, you'll naturally become my right-hand man, I tell him proudly. I was the one who founded my own fighting style, called the Genryu style. Gojo-sensei called me very talented to come up with a fighting style that suited me this well. I can't claim to be the strongest Shinigami, but Gojo-sensei says that he does not consider himself to be a Shinigami only. He is more. No, Master Isekai, if I become your student, then I will only be mimicking you. A right-hand man must be one who can compensate for the things you are unable to handle, he says. You are always splitting hairs, I tell him, but I am interrupted. Stop acting all high and mighty, Kuni love. This young man is obviously interested in becoming your right-hand man, and instead of just rejecting him you should be smarter and put him to the test, I hear my wife say, who has come out of the house. She uses that embarrassing nickname. Kuni, the short version of Shikakuni. Ugh, it's unbearable when I hear it in public. What do you mean, put him to the test, I ask her. Well, a right-hand man needs to be able to compensate for the things you are unable to handle, just like he said. But for that he needs strength. So test him on that and then decide. But don't just push the topic further and further. Yes. Lady Yamamoto is correct. I haven't shown up every day. This is in fact the first time here in a month. As you told me a month ago. I have acquired a Bankai, the boy says. Oh. In that case, try to defeat me with that Bankai of yours, I tell him. See. That wasn't so bad. Now don't do it here, or you'll destroy everything again, Aiko says. Chojiro and I make our way to the Rukon district, East 37 district, Ryugan. All right. Here we can fight without disturbing anyone. So show me what you got. Yes. Chojiro releases his Zanpakuto first. Pierce, Ganryamaru, he says, and the katana transforms into a rapier. An interesting form, mostly used to pierce, just like the release says. Then he slowly raises Ganryamaru in the air, pointing at the sky. Bankai. Koko Ganryo Rikyu. Chojiro raises his Zanpakuto above his head, causing dark clouds to form above him. He then produces sparks and a golden bolt of lightning from the blade, which extends towards the dark clouds and transforms them into a dome of lightning. The dome is stationed far above his head and fastened to the ground by a large number of golden lightning pillars. The sword itself remains in its Shurikai form for the duration of the Bankai. Chojiro moves the blade of Koko Ganryo Rikyu alongside the lightning pillars as if he is collecting them. By doing so, Chojiro can infuse his sword with immense amounts of lightning. He then uses that speed and power of the lightning he has collected and rushes towards me. I can feel a wound on my forehead. I was surprised at the speed and power it held, but I could also feel that it was still fresh and unrefined. That Bankai is like a newborn, I say. That's right. I intend to spend the rest of my life honing this Bankai so it can be helpful to you, Master Isekai, Chojiro said. I can tell that he is not lying. He means what he says and will indeed hone his Bankai only to be helpful to me. I guess that answers the question of whether I should make him my right-hand man. Chapter 71, Senjamaru's Peril I. Surprise Motherf asterisk curs. Senjamaru POV. Quest. Special Quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 1. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. Quest requirements. Create 10,000 special cloths. Create 1,000 different puppets and use them in dungeons. Reach Shirkai, LV, rewards. 1. Gain 1 special item. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. I look at the quest and smile. I have finally finished it. It took me quite a while, to be honest. Longer than I'd like to admit. It became obvious after a while that I could take a shortcut and simply copy the clothes I had already made to complete the requirement. I knew that Hades was aware of this. And yet he left it there. I also know that he does nothing without reason. Did he try to test me? No, that is not his style. I believe he wanted to give me an easy way should I wish to rush and grow more powerful, should I wish to do so. But he also gave me the chance to truly hone my abilities to the fullest and grow stronger by myself. I am truly thankful to you, my love. I know that you trust me, and that is very valuable. But I chose this path and I will see it through till the end. When I'm done here, I will be able to stand at your side. I am excited to see what I get out of this. I know that the quest is called Become the Divine Weaver, and it has a 1 at the end. This means that there should be another 1. The special item is something I am very excited about. I can't imagine what that might be. The plus 30 bonus stat points aren't as amazing as you might think. I had reached the 400s in all stats and a plus 30 wasn't that amazing, but it's better than nothing, I guess. The undisclosed reward is also something that I can't wait to get. I guess it will have to do with my progress. The last thing I was gifted was the skill puppetry, and the first special quest was for me to upgrade that skill and create 1,000 puppets and use them in dungeons. So I am just guessing here, but it could be the thing that leads me to the special quest, too. Okay, let's do this. I accept the second reward first. Plus 30 stat points. I take a moment and then decide to wait to distribute them. You never know what might happen, and I do not need more strength or speed just yet. Maybe I will get into a dangerous situation and can use them then, but it's unlikely. Now on to the next reward. Plus 1 special item, claim. I click, yes, and then I get another notification. Special item gained, Ito Ito no Mi, special version. Ito Ito no Mi. That translates to string fruit. I got a fruit, made out of strings. Without waiting, I check my inventory and there I see a fruit. It is a gourd-shaped, pale lilac-colored fruit with a swirl pattern embedded all over it and a curly, fuchsia stem on its top. Very peculiar fruit this is. I have never seen something like this. So I click on it and see the description. Item. Name, Ito Ito no Mi. Item class, C. Description, the Ito Ito no Mi is a paramecia-type devil fruit that allows the user to create and manipulate strings, making the user a string human. The user gains the special version that is free of its curse. What is this? A paramecia-type devil fruit, and it makes me into a string human. What is that supposed to mean? It sounds ominous, but I don't believe that Hades would give me something that would harm me. It even says something about a curse. Let's see whether I can find out more about the devil fruits. I click on the word, devil fruit, and I am greeted with another system prompt with texts. Devil fruit. Description, devil fruits are mysterious, distinctive fruits scattered throughout the world of One Piece, known for permanently granting their eaters superhuman powers and an equally permanent inability to swim, which is the curse. With only one notable exception, an individual can only acquire the powers of a single devil fruit and survive. Each devil fruit grants a special power to anyone who eats it, from the simplest powers possible, such as stretching like rubber, to powers capable of causing large-scale destruction like creating earthquakes. Each devil fruit is unique, and there is no other like it, that is, there is no natural devil fruit that has the same power as another. These fruits are broadly grouped into 3 classes. Zoan, which allows a user to transform into an animal as well as an animal hybrid. Logia, which grants a user the power to create, control, and transform their body into a natural element. Paramecia, which offers any of a vast array of strange abilities that do not fit into the other 2 categories. I see. So the fruit that I got is called the Ito Ito no Mi, which translates to string fruit. And eating it will make me a string person. So, I gain the power to freely create strings, with my body. That is an amazing power if I'm being honest. I can't wait to eat this fruit. I do wonder though what the world of One Piece is like. And why is it named that way? Is the world just One Piece or something like that? Hades didn't tell me about this world, so he wasn't there, yet he knows about it and can just replicate something from there. Now let us get to the final reward. Undisclosed reward, item. Name, Doflamingo's Dungeon Key. Item class, E. Type, key. Description, a key that allows you to create an instant dungeon containing Don Quixote Doflamingo. Nicknamed the Heavenly Yiksha, he is the captain of the Don Quixote pirates and owner of the Ito Ito no Mi. So I gained a dungeon key to a dungeon with a pirate inside it. And apparently, he is also an owner of the Ito Ito no Mi that I just gained. I thought that only one person could have the same fruit at the time. This must have some meaning to it. I have to fight this dungeon and kill or defeat this Doflamingo to what? Oh, I have another quest. Let's have a look. Quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 2. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. New. Quest requirements. Defeat Don Quixote Doflamingo. No Shirkai or Bankai allowed. Reach Ito Ito no Mi, Awakening. Rewards, new. 1. Gain 1 runestone. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. Well, would you look at this? My next quest is connected to the dungeon key I just got. I wonder why that is. Probably due to the nature of this Doflamingo's powers being the same as mine. And now that I have the Ito Ito no Mi as well and I am not allowed to use my Zanpakuto, we will see the proficiency of using this power. I do wonder though whether this pirate is strong enough for me to even have to use my power. He is from a different world and maybe I could just kill him very fast and then be done with it. But there has to be another twist to this. These quests are meant for me to grow stronger in the respective things that I specialize in. The first quest was meant for me to level up my puppeteering skill and get creative in the use of my sewing. Then this quest must have a similar meaning. I guess there is only one way to find out. I find myself in a Colosseum of sorts. The Colosseum features a round stage surrounded by water, with 4 cardinal walkways leading to the stage. There are 3 levels of seating for the audience all around the Colosseum. On one of the cardinal edges are 3 monitors for the participants' announcements and presentations. Sitting in front of me is a very tall, light blonde-haired, very lean and muscular man with tanned skin. He is dressed in flamboyant clothes. In reference to his animal theme, the flamingo, his clothes are brightly colored, with his light pink feather coat most distinctly of all. This must be Doflamingo, I guess. He sports a pair of curved, thin white sunglasses, which appear to serve as his eyesight with red lenses. He has a white shirt with red stripes, a green belt, and red pants with pink stripes. He also wears black dress shoes that are somewhat pointed. Judging from his looks, I can't really take this man seriously. But there is something about him, a feeling that he gives me. It makes me hesitate and somewhat wary of him. I think he is still somewhat dangerous. But there is only one way to find out how dangerous he truly is. Third-person POV. Who are you? Doflamingo asks her. My name is Senjimaro Shitara and who are you? HM. You come to my kingdom and ask me who I am. Quite a peculiar one you are. You are standing in front of Don Quixote Doflamingo, captain of the Don Quixote pirates and warlord of the Sea Girl. So you better show me some respect and get on your knees, he says with a twisted and disgusting smile. I must disappoint you, as I am here to defeat you. Defeat me? Is that so? And how are you, fragile girl, going to defeat me? He asks Senjimaro. Well, she can't use my Zanpakuto, but she doesn't think that will be necessary. Like this, Senjimaro says and uses Shuinpa to approach him. She is not allowed to use either Shirkai or Bankai, but that doesn't mean she can't use the blade in its sealed form. Senjimaro flashes to him and stabs his heart. Before he knows it, she is behind him with a bloody sword in her hands. That ought to do it, is what she thinks. She doesn't even turn back to look at Doflamingo when suddenly, BAAM. Yuff. Senjimaro is kicked in the head with a vicious roundhouse kick from Doflamingo. She had no way to dodge it as it came unexpectedly. She crashes to the ground with a serious head injury. She is not unconscious but is very close. The strength behind Doflamingo's kick is not something she expected, and normally, that would not be possible, but this is a dungeon and not the real Doflamingo from the One Piece world. His strength was adjusted to greater heights to be able to challenge Senjimaro. And if it says challenge, then it means challenge. Senjimaro POV. Doflamingo walks towards me at a very slow pace. His walk is just ridiculous. I can't see his eyes due to the glasses, but his brow is furrowed, showing his displeasure. I stand back up and look at my adversary. I was sure that I pierced his heart. But his wound is to the left of his heart. That would mean that I didn't pierce his heart but missed. No, that's not possible, I think. And then I see something interesting. The wound on Doflamingo stitches itself back together. I am surprised and my eyes widen. How? I see, that has to be the Ito Ito no Mi at work there. What an ingenious idea to have the strings act like that. Very clever. This time I focus. I won't be taken off guard again. I narrow my eyes and look for an opening. He has multiple. How is he a pirate captain? He has no fighting style. I flash to him again and try to hit him, but he dodges. How? Instinct. No, something else. I try again and he moves his head out of the way of my kick. I begin to use my 6 artificial arms to attack at high speeds. He takes the hits on his body with no visible wounds. I then have to dodge one of his fists that is just about to impact with my face. Chapter 72, Senjumaru's Peril 2. Double surprise Multiverse asterisk curs. Senjumaru POV. I am attacking Doflamingo with my 6 arms, but he just takes the hits with his body, leaving no visible wounds. His defense is no joke, but neither is his speed. I have to dodge one of his fists that is just about to impact with my face. I manage to dodge out of the way, but then his left leg, which I didn't see, hits me in the sides. I feel and hear the cracks that my ribs make and taste the blood in my mouth. What strength! He has speed that doesn't make sense for someone of his height. And how does he have such spatial awareness? Is it a technique? I can see how he is a captain. Is he the strongest in his world? No, I guess he is just this strong to challenge me and make me truly earn the rewards for the special quest, too. And at the moment he is doing a lot of damage. The first mistake, where I was arrogant, is now coming to bite me. Never mind that. It is time for me to go all out now, or I'll lose this fight badly. He doesn't even look ruffled. Instead, he has that abhorrent smile on his face that sends shivers down my spine. All right, this is not just a physical fight, it is also a fight of skill and wits. I have the power of the Ito Ito no Mi, just like he does. I have to push him to show me how he uses it and then make them better. My other skills are still available. I should be able to have a good fight. Once again. I use Shuinpa to attack him. I go for a feint and slash my blade at his neck. At the last moment, I change the trajectory from his neck to his thorax. But just as my blade reaches his thorax, it bounces off and makes a metallic sound. I wasn't able to draw blood. On the other hand, he has gained an opening due to me calculating this attack to hit and do some damage. He punched me in the face again, and this time I could feel my brain hitting my skull and putting my balance off. I fell to the ground, bleeding and unable to do anything. Doflamingo again walked towards me slowly, and for a moment I thought that I saw a red glint behind his glasses. What happened next was unclear. An unknown pressure fell on me and it felt like I was being forced to obey or something like that. It took all my willpower not to fall unconscious. Why do you fight? You're a Shinigami, right? Why, yes. Then why are you fighting me? I'm a human. Shouldn't you be protecting humans? No. Shinigami aren't protectors of the humans, we keep the balance and kill hollows. Why do you kill hollows? Is it because they are evil? They consume souls. So because of their nature, they consume souls. Are they evil because of that? Who decides who is and who isn't evil? Is it the Shinigami? Are hollows evil? Are Shinigami righteous? Those views change as often as the tides. Kids who have never known peace have different values from those who've never known war and poverty. Those who stand at the top can decide the definition of evil. Fu. Justice will triumph, it always does, girl. The winners will become justice. Fu, don't you see? I also had a terrible childhood and was forced to act and kill to survive. Am I worse than your hollows because they consume to survive? Or am I better because I'm a human? Is the balance of souls truly that important to ignore the wishes and needs of the individual? Can I now do with you whatever I want because I beat you? The answer to all of these questions can only be answered by the most powerful. All the others are essentially sheep to be slaughtered when the strong want them to. Fu. I am transported out of the dungeon and lie there. I think about the fight for a moment. It was unlike anything I have ever experienced. Don Quixote Doflamingo, his demeanor, his actions, his words, the way he walks, it all leaves a terrible taste in my mouth. His devil fruit, strength, and the weird energy he used are not the most dangerous and scary thing about him, it's his words. His intelligence and his way of words are what make this man dangerous. He managed to make his way into my head, with nothing but his words. Because he is not wrong. The strong are those that establish the status quo. If Hades hadn't been strong, he would not be where he is today. This strange power of his was the thing that helped a lot, but still, he manipulated me. He talked down on me, called me names and made me feel powerless. He is a charismatic evil man. I see, so that's how it is. I see why this is my first dungeon after the first special quest. Hades is trying to teach me again. Not just about my powers or abilities, about human nature and things that I will meet in the future. He wants me to confront my inner fears and beliefs now. I see. I have to face these truths sooner or later and he wants to make me face them sooner. I understand this, Doflamingo. Life essentially forces us to choose sides. Good or evil. And yet these terms are determined by the victors. What a Chibe says comes from the Soul King and that is always correct, not because he never lies, but because he is simply the strongest and no one can say anything against that. +1 intelligence. There it is again. This quest will be harder than I anticipated. I best get familiar with the power of the Ito Ito no Mi and train my physical abilities as well. I am also allowed to use puppets, as that was not banned in the quest. I better get to work. Third-person POV. Hades smiled when he saw the notifications of the system. He chose Doflamingo for a reason. Not only did he use all 3 types of hockey and had the power of Ito Ito no Mi, but he was also one of the truly dangerous characters. Not due to his strength, but because of his manipulations. What he says is not wrong, but it takes a different kind of strength to face him in that regard. Senjimaro will now be forced to understand her beliefs and motivations before she can face Doflamingo again. If her will is not strong enough, she won't be able to defeat Doflamingo. The Ito Ito no Mi had a lot of versatility and Doflamingo was very creative in the use of his power. Senjimaro could only profit from that. He also made Doflamingo a lot stronger than he was in the story. Senjimaro would smoke him otherwise. It's not even close to how fast the fight would be over. But this Daffy hit differently. He was in another league entirely. All the quests were for Senjimaro to grow after all. She didn't want to be handed power on a silver platter, so Hades wasn't going to do that. The curse has been removed from the Ito Ito no Mi theoretically. Hades could have just granted Senjimaro the skill of thread manipulation but that came later. It was not the main focus of this quest. He wanted Senjimaro to use Doflamingo as a whetstone. He was convinced that she would brush past this failure and take it as an experience. Time passed again and then it was finally time for Yamamoto to open up his Shinigami Academy, as he called it. It was a place for young souls to go to and if they had the potential to become Shinigami and fight, then they were allowed to enter. The Shinigami Academy is located in the Siriitii. The academy trains souls with spiritual powers for each of the 3 military arms of Soul Society. So it wasn't that different from the future version. Except for the names, only the instructors are different, probably. There is also a difference in the curriculum. Right now there are no classes on calligraphy like the one that Sosuke Aizen will eventually teach. Right now survival and the basics of being a Shinigami and fighting hollows were taught. The academy is a sprawling, multiple-story building with architecture similar to that of Siriitii. It has an open courtyard, many classrooms, dormitories and practice areas for Zenjutsu, Hakuta, Ho-Ho, and Kido. Kido was not really that important right now and it wasn't necessary to learn it, apart from the most basic spells. But that would become more and more important down the line because Kido was a major part of being a Shinigami. Yamamoto approached Hades with the request to become the Kido instructor and overlook all things that are Kido-related. Hades agreed to the motion but said that he was not interested in filling that role forever. So Hades began to teach young souls how to use their spirit power correctly and how to use it to make Kido. He told them the theory behind Kido and demonstrated what Kido could do when mastered, by killing a hollow with it. That got the students' attention and the reputation of Kido rose after that. Hades found out that he was really good with kids. He had taught Shigekuni already for quite a few years and he also overlooked some of Yuchiru's training, before she left to do her own thing. Nobitsuna didn't count as he was already a grown man when he fought Yamamoto and then came to Hades. It was a good way for Hades to spend his time and not think about Senjimaro all the time. He would sometimes pick a very talented student and have him learn more things that the others can't do. He wanted to see if he could change certain things or not. It was Hades' way to pass the time. So you think because I used to teach Yuchiru for a short period, you are entitled to the same training? Hades asked the young pink-haired woman, who was standing in front of him. Who cares about something as boring as training? I want to learn how to beat that stupid-faced Nobitsuna. I know that you taught him, and I want to have all of that too, so that I can beat him, she screamed. I see. Would you tell me your name before you continue making a fuss? Otherwise, I won't know who to throw out of my home. I am Furofushi Saito, and I will be the strongest female Shinigami, believe it. First is the dumb-faced Nobitsuna and then the rest of the male Shinigami. I will work my way up until I reach the level of the dumb Shigekuni, Furofushi Saito said. I see. You have a good goal and I can respect that, but it is bad manners to just barge into someone's home and demand something from them. If you wish to learn anything from me, then come back tomorrow in the morning and bring some manners with you, Hades said and then waved. Furofushi was about to protest but as Hades waved, she suddenly felt herself move somehow. She looked around and found herself outside of the mansion she just entered. How did he do that? Could she also learn this? Maybe it was worth it to come back here. Then she could become stronger and have something over Nobitsuna, that dumb idiot. Next chapter on the 2nd of December. Sorry, but I gave you all I had today, so I'll have to make more. Chapter 73, Make, Cultivation Trip. This is a birthday present for someone. So here it is. Happy birthday. Third person POV. Swindler. Great swindler. An enraged roar can be heard and the sound of footsteps on a blue stone pavement by someone escaping could be heard. Zhang Xian stretches out his both hands helplessly. I am not a swindler, I am a teacher of the academy. I only want to make you my student. Besides that, do you have to add a great while saying that I am a swindler? You make it sound as though I am some unpardonable criminal. After he finishes his muttering, he recalls the words of the director, this is the 17th one already. If I still fail to find a student today, I would have to pack up and leave tomorrow. Zhang Xian isn't a person from this world, but an ordinary librarian of a high school. He only remembers the blazing flames and then. There is no more then. When he woke up, he was already in this world. It was the classic reincarnation story that we all know, but this time the main character has a very special ability that not even he himself knows yet. This world is just like the ones depicted in novels, the path of martial arts is respected and the strong reigns. Initially, Zhang Xian thought that after traversing, he would become a useless talent and end up rejected by his fiancée. Afterwards, he would strike back, slapping them in their face, and his life would proceed smoothly from then on. Looks like he had overthought it. After arriving here, he realized that he wasn't a student but a teacher. The most pathetic teacher in the entire academy. The lectures of other people are always overflowing with people and many people find themselves without seats. On the other hand, there isn't a single person in his class. It was difficult for him to rope in a few students, but they ended up labeling him as a swindler and escaped. As for the reason, ignoring the fact that the fellow whose body got taken over by him was the weakest teacher in the entire campus and his inability to pick out talents, the crux of it all is that he even misguided a student, causing his cultivation to go berserk. This was just like having a dead patient on your record. His reputation went down and he was despised by everyone else. Even the new students chose to stay away from him, afraid that they would end up in the same situation if they were to fall into his clutches. A bad track record and his lack of students caused him to be ranked as the first from the bottom in the entire academy for the teacher qualification examination last year. He even got the first and only 0 marks in the entire history of the academy. Depressed, he used alcohol to drown his sorrows. In the end, just as he wished, he died, providing an opportunity for Zhang Xian to leap over. At the start of a new term, the academy issued an ultimatum to him. If he were to be unable to recruit a single student to his lessons by this year, his qualifications as a teacher would be revoked. Today, there were already 17 new students who passed by his classroom. In the end, the moment they heard his name, every one of them ran away, as though a young lady meeting a strange uncle, running as far as their feet could take them. Looks like I have to look for a way to coax one of them. As he is still thinking about how he should rope someone in, he sees the head of a man with an amused expression at the entrance. May I ask if this is the classroom of teacher Lu Sun? He has a mature and elegant appearance, not to mention his sweet voice. Teacher Lu Sun is the academy's star teacher. His lessons are always packed and innumerable people chose to come to the academy due to his fame. So when the young man came to ask for this famous teacher, I will take him. Seeing someone walking into his trap, Zhang Xian's eyes lit up. Recalling all kinds of methods to act cool from his previous life, he sat quietly on his chair and posed like an enlightened expert. You want to become Lu Sun's student? He asked like a teenager trying to impress a girl. The young man nods his head slowly as an amused glint appears in his purple pupils. I have heard that teacher Lu Sun is the most incredible teacher in the Hongtian Academy. All of the students he taught are extraordinary and joining his class is an honor in itself. Rumors may not reflect the truth. Teachers are just like shoes, what is important is whether they fit or not. No matter how well he lectures, if the theories are not suited to the skills you are practicing, not only will you find it hard to advance, your strength might even regress. Even if a teacher isn't well known, if his theories harmonize with yours, you can still improve swiftly and your cultivation will rise exponentially. Is that something you read in a fortune cookie? Haha. I have also read such profound words before. The young man ponders for a moment, uncertainty appearing in his beautiful deep eyes. However, I don't know what kind of lessons would suit me. Maybe, you would know, the man asked with a strange undertone. But Zhang Xian didn't pick up on it. Seeing that as a sign of the young man being on the hook, Zhang Xian's eyes light up. He hesitates for a moment as memories of great men like Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels flash through his mind. He feigns a look of predicament and says, our meeting could be considered as destiny as well. How about this? I am also a teacher at this academy. I will help you take a look at your bones, talents and personality and recommend a suitable teacher for you. Ha. Then I will trouble you, mister. The man nods his head slowly and with a smile. He apparently found this situation funny, but Zhang Xian only saw an opportunity. Display your cultivation first. Zhang Xian's eyes are half open, putting on a look as though this doesn't bother him in any way. Sure. Ooh. The man used the knuckle of his middle finger and tapped the pole which was used to measure cultivation as well as strength and talent. For a short moment, the entire room vibrated and threatened to crumble from the shockwave of his light tap. Like a tsunami, giant wave after wave of spiritual energy flowed around the body of the man, threatening to drown or crush anyone that came close. For his spiritual energy to spill out instead of being contained would normally mean that he has bad energy control, but it was a bit different here. The energy was so dense that when the man used the slightest amount, it spilt out and had that effect. Not to mention that the man didn't use his fist, but only one finger. It was a powerful but hidden display, showing that he had a great foundation. Well, that or he was powerful. But Zhang Xian only saw the potential of the man and not the truth. He was blinded by his greed to have this young man as his student. All right, I can tell that you have been training diligently and arduously. Your foundations are solid and your talent is top-notch. You are a hard-to-come-by genius. After the man finishes a punching routine, Zhang Xian nods his head in satisfaction. He is imitating fortune tellers from Earth. His words are slippery with a great range of interpretation. The ones listening are unable to find a flaw in his words, and instead, they will be shocked by how accurate his comments are, due to not listening closely. Especially the strength on your legs, they are just like a dragon. Every movement is just like the raging ocean, full of strength. As long as you were to train hard in the future, you would surely have a bright future. Is that so? Well, aren't you a clever one? I wonder, did you memorize those words? You see, I never even used my leg. How can you say that I have a lot of power in my legs? And by the way, my leg is injured. The doctor said that it is as good as crippled. The man interrupts Zhang Xian's monologue with a look of suspicion and condensation in his eyes. Injured. Zhang Xian's face turns red. However, he is thick-skinned, so others can't really tell. He continues to bullshit. Do you think that I can't tell? I knew it from the moment you exerted your strength. The reason why I said it is because through destruction will there be rebirth. Although your leg is injured, you were unexpectedly blessed with an opportunity that no one else expected. As long as you grasp it properly, your legwork will become your greatest strength. Others can only look on with envy. Anyway, he is just coaxing him. If he can convince the men by bullshitting, he will bullshit. The important thing is to get a disciple for himself first. Opportunity. Teacher, what kind of opportunity is it? The man's eyes lit up. After starting this farce, he was going to see it through. He was here for one thing and one thing only. But the logic of cultivation worlds was already affecting him, it would seem. Quite dangerous. This opportunity can allow you to soar to the top in one go. It won't be difficult for you to become the top of the new recruits this year. After all, your talents are extraordinary, a genius that has yet to appear in history. However, Zhang Xian's words go on and on. He doesn't appear to be stopping his monologue anytime soon. Zhang Xian POV. Upon hearing that he is a genius capable of becoming the first among the freshmen, the man's face blushes furiously and continues questioning me. However, what? He asks in a hopeful tone. However, Zhang Xian sighs. It is a sigh of regret that a talent is about to be buried in the dirt. The teachers who are able to spot such an opportunity don't number many in this academy. Including me, there are only 3. The other 2 have already stopped accepting students from 3 years ago, so it would be difficult for me to ask them as well. I try not to show it on my face, but it is difficult to come up with such amounts of lies on the spot. Stopped accepting students. Initially, the man had high hopes for it, but after hearing those words, his expression turns gloomy. Then, he seems to recall something suddenly and says, they aren't accepting students, but teacher, are you accepting? Of course I am. Just that, you can also tell, I am indifferent to fame and fortune, and I don't have much time to spare as well. A look of difficulty appears on Zhang Xian's face. If it isn't a good seedling, I won't accept it easily even if our paths cross. Puffed. Cough I mean. Oh no. Venerable teacher, I know that you are noble, but please accept me as your student. I will train diligently to not embarrass you. A surge of joy rushes into my heart, though my face still maintains a look of seriousness. It has to be destiny that brought us together, just that. You can also tell, I like silence. Haha. As your student, I promise to never interrupt the teacher unless it is an emergency. Seeing that I am a little unwilling, the man immediately nods his head with a sincere look on his face. But he seems to be constipating. I don't have many students, so the resources I have cannot be compared to other teachers. Also, you might be criticized by others. I continue. Is that so? I have heard that training resources are important. The man hesitates. The amount of resources a teacher claims from the academy is related to the number of his students, their results, and numerous other factors. Without sufficient resources, it is difficult to advance in cultivation. Cough cough, I only said that to test you. Since you are determined and sincere in acknowledging me as your master, I will reluctantly accept you. Looking at the man's signs of hesitation, I interrupted him and said, your identity card. So quickly. I can see that he didn't expect that I would change my mind as quickly as flipping the page of a book. The man is surprised as he grasps the token passed over by me which represents his identity as my student. Just as he is considering whether he should affirm the relationship, he sees the reticent teacher Zhang pull his hand over and cut it with a sharp dagger, or at least he tries to. Not even a drop of blood falls on the jade token. Ah. I am a little surprised at this. This should work. Am I so bad that I can't even cut the palm of this young man? What will he think of me? I have to try again. This time, it works thankfully and a drop of blood falls on the jade token. I can see the dumbfounded look on the student's face. He must be thinking to himself, didn't the teacher say that he has to consider carefully about it? Indifferent to fame and fortune, was it? Why is his movement so fast and, even the dagger was prepared beforehand? And why was he unable to cut my palm? From now on, you are my student. After the verification through blood, I heaved a sigh of relief. Then, I continued to assume my image as an unworldly expert. What is your name? Good sir, I am called Hades, the young man says, and thunder is heard for a short second. I look around but don't see any clouds. This is a very weird experience right now. Take your identity token to claim your betting in your books. Also, look for your lodging while you're at it. We shall begin lessons tomorrow. Meet me here, I flick my hand. Sure. Hades nods his head and turns around to leave with a smile on his face. Hugh. I have successfully coaxed one in, I say after he has left the room. After confirming that he is his student, I heave a sigh of relief and smile. It really isn't an easy task. If it wasn't for the techniques in acting cool that I learned from the internet, it would have been hard for me to succeed today. With one student, I will be able to avoid the misfortune of being expelled. I feel the burden which was placed on me disappearing. In a moment, my spirit feels much more relaxed. The obsession that was lingering in my brain disappeared gradually. Rest easy, now that I am in your body, I will live properly in your stead, I say to myself or the old Zhang Xian. The previous Zhang Xian died because he was unable to recruit students, so he held strong regrets in this world. Now that there is a student under him, his final obsession disappears. At this moment, I could be considered to finally gain complete control over this body. Third-person POV. Boom. After gaining full control of this body, he wants to continue coaxing a few more students over. However, he suddenly feels a tremor in his head as he hears the sound of ancient bells striking in his head. The heaven and earth are callous, treating all beings like dogs. The sun sets and the moon wanes, an imperfection appears in the heaven and earth. Boom. All kinds of profound sayings shocked him silly. Following this, a giant palace appears before him in his head. On it, 4 words glow brightly. Library of Heaven's Path. He opens the door and walks in. Countless bookshelves stand tall and mighty, filled with all kinds of books. The end can't be seen at a single glance. Could this be the gift pack for Transcenders? A library. Damn it, I was a librarian in my previous life. It can't be that I would still be the same in this world as well. The gift packs of others are old grandfathers, systems, or all kinds of overpowered items. Yet, my gift pack is a library. Zhang Xian could feel the sight before him turning dark, and he almost faints. A library. For what? It can't be that in my future fights when other people are throwing swords at me, I would be throwing books. Let me see what books those are. Feeling helpless, Zhang Xian reaches out to grab a book from a bookshelf so as to determine the purpose of this library. However, when he stretches out, his hand passes through the bookshelf, causing him to grab nothing but air. Are you playing with me? Giving me a library yet preventing me from grabbing and reading any book, what exactly do you want? Zhang Xian is speechless. An urge to cry overwhelms him but no tears fall out. Fascinating, a voice says behind him. Zhang Xian turns around and sees Hades, the young man he met before standing there. He is surprised at this but quickly regains his composure. Hades, what are you doing here? How did you get here? Haha, you truly are funny. Did you think that your little act fooled anyone? Please, if you try to fool me, you have to try harder. But let's not talk about it. I am here for this, Hades says and spreads his arms. This? What do you mean? The Library of Heaven's Path allows the user to compile a book on a cultivator as long as the cultivator executes a battle technique in front of him or by touching a person who is unconscious. The compiled book would contain information about the cultivator's background, abilities, and flaws in his cultivation. At the same time, the Library of Heaven's Path can compile books on ongoing processes such as an activated formation or a pill forging process through direct sight, and on artifacts or non-living objects through direct touch. Similarly, the book would reflect information concerning the ongoing process or the artifact, including its flaws. What? That is fabulous. Amazing. Unbelievable. Inconceivable. Yes, all of that. And it is also, now mine. What? Did you think that I came to your room by coincidence? I was there for a purpose. I wanted to have this, but I saw that you hadn't activated it yet, so I played along and now, it is here. So thank you. Zhang Xian, Hades said. Then Hades waved his hand gently and Zhang Xuang felt as if his soul was ripped apart and left his body. He slowly died there, unable to comprehend just who it was that robbed him of the most valuable tool in this universe. Chapter 74, Special Quest Number 2, complete. Hades POV. Well, that was an interesting little adventure I experienced right there. I can't imagine what might have happened if I had stayed for much longer though. The laws of that world might not be able to do anything to me that could harm me, but I am not strong enough to fight them to stay in that universe. They would have pushed me out, for the time being. I am growing stronger as well, and this little library is a useful tool. I thought about the Library of Heaven's Path for a long time. My time in the Bleach universe was not the most exciting of my life. But that wasn't why I was here. I was here to get a Zanpakuto. I came here for that reason alone, my symbol of power. And now, I had it. So why wasn't I leaving? Well, my plans changed. I was not alone anymore. I had finally found the one I wanted to spend eternity with. So it wasn't just about me anymore. I was now waiting for my beloved to grow strong and then take her with me, show her our home and go on other adventures with her. But this took time. So what did I do in the meantime? I took students and taught them to see what would happen. I wanted to see my friend again in the future and save him, but some revelations made me reconsider this. I'm sure it will be revealed in the future. Now, since there seemed to be student after student, I thought that there was a useful tool that could help me with teaching. So the idea was born to get the Library of Heaven's Path. Did I need it? No, absolutely not. Was it useful? Yes, it was very useful. I would probably go to cultivation worlds with my family in the future, and having the Library of Heaven's Path would make the growth we all experience so much easier. The library was a marvelous tool. It had many different functions, but it was a tool that served as an information source on how to do things correctly. The Library of Heaven's Path allowed Zhang Xian in the story to compile a book on a cultivator as long as the cultivator executed a battle technique in front of him or touched an unconscious person. The compiled book would contain information about the cultivator's background, abilities, and flaws in his cultivation. So as long as there was anything that a person did in front of Hades, he would gain information on that person. It was not the most detailed information, but that wasn't important. It was still amazing. But that was not all. At the same time, the Library of Heaven's Path can compile books on ongoing processes such as an activated formation or a pill forging process through direct sight, and on artifacts or non-living objects through direct touch. Similarly, the book would reflect information concerning the ongoing process or the artifact, including its flaws. A book is also compiled by eating a dish of food. It shows how it was cooked and its history, completing a superior gourmet skill. So there was now no skill he couldn't learn, and he would be able to learn it to the best of his abilities. The best way to cook and get heavenly dishes from the worst possible ingredients. Other than that, the Library of Heaven's Path also can collect books through touch. This ability can be activated regardless of the presence of seals on the book itself. In the story, Zhang Xian can access the books in the Library of Heaven's Path as well, and his reading speed in the Library of Heaven's Path is stated to be enhanced by more than 100-fold as compared to outside, thus allowing him to accrue much more knowledge as compared to an average master teacher. When he earns the earnest gratitude of his students as a result of his impartation of knowledge, the Library of Heaven's Path has a chance of condensing a golden page in the Book of Heaven's Path. There are about 5 different uses of the golden page, but only 2 were interesting for Hades. 1. It can be used to enhance his soul. 2. It can also be used to assimilate the content of all of the books he has collected in the Library of Heaven's Path into his head instantaneously. Now all of this was the general use of the library. He was Hades and had no true limit to what he could do. The first thing he did was to conquer and subdue the library to truly make it his. And since he had left its original universe, he had the advantage. He managed to subdue it and then modified it to work as he wished. Boundary manipulation for the win. Now, he would be able to teach Senjumaru and others much better, and he could also make her much stronger. Cultivation would be something he would do in the future. At least to get all of their knowledge and understand different laws. And the coolest thing is my ultimate skill, Lord of Wisdom, fused with the Library of Heaven's Path. Increasing the value and potential even more than it already had. My own Akashic records will be created. And together with the tree of knowledge in the underworld, I am probably going to achieve that. Third-person POV. The moon hung low in the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the Numancia Flamingo, the pirate ship of the Don Quixote pirates. This wasn't the first time Senjimaro was here. She tried the challenge multiple times over the years, and every time she got closer to defeating the dungeon, it got harder. That meant that more and more of Doflamingo's crew would appear and fight her before she even got to Doflamingo. Numancia Flamingo was a somewhat large ship whose main exterior and masts were dark red. Its figurehead design is a flamingo's neck and head, with the flamingo wearing Doflamingo's signature sunglasses. On each side of the ship are designs of flamingo wings. The ship possesses two masts, with the first mast sail bearing the Don Quixote pirates Jolly Roger and the name Don Quixote. Under the second mast is a circular cabin leading below the deck. Senjimaro Shitara, a member of the Royal Guard and future Divine Weaver, stood calmly with her arms crossed, facing the flamboyant and menacing Doflamingo Don Quixote. She had already killed all the other members of the crew and was now standing in front of the captain. The men whom Senjimaro had learned to despise as well as acknowledge as a worthy adversary. Doflamingo's eyes shone with confidence and malice as he cracked his knuckles, a wicked grin spreading across his face. Well, what do we have here? A little Shinigami playing with strings. You're way out of your league, sweetheart, haven't you understood that yet? No matter how many times you come here, I will always play with you, Doflamingo said. And maybe I'll even use your B****, Doflamingo wanted to say but he couldn't. Something stopped him from saying what he wanted, and for a moment he seemed confused but then relaxed as if nothing happened. Senjimaro was used to this. Every time Doflamingo defeated her and tried to grab her in an indecent way to do things to her, he seemed to glitch and then stop as if nothing happened. Senjimaro knew what happened, of course, as she wasn't naive in any way. Something, or rather, someone didn't like Doflamingo talking or acting that way with her, and that's the reason why this happened. She found it very cute. Words are cheap, Doflamingo. Let's see if your strings can dance to the same tune as mine, Senjimaro said and initiated the fight. Without drawing her Zanpakuto, Senjimaro activated the power of the Ito Ito no Mi, the same devil fruit ability that Doflamingo possessed. Threads infused with reishi materialized around her fingers, forming an intricate web of spiritual energy. It showed the skill and talent she possessed. Doflamingo lunged forward, strings extending from his fingertips like deadly whips. Senjimaro effortlessly dodged her movements like a fleeting shadow. She was as elegant as her clothes. In an instant, she vanished, leaving behind afterimages that confused Doflamingo, but not for long. Kenbunchaku Haki. Senjimaro had found out what it was that allowed Doflamingo to sense her and predict her attacks. She was very interested in learning and mastering this technique. As she found out, it was a package of 3. Kenbunchaku Haki grants him a sixth sense that allows him to sense her presence. Then there was Buso's Hoku Haki, an invisible piece of armor he could surround his body with, providing incredible offensive and defensive capabilities. And of course, the last type, which she found to be the most dangerous. How's Hoku Haki? Doflamingo called it a rare form of haki that allows the user to exert their willpower over others and was proof that he was a king. From the shadows emerged puppets, life-sized, replicas of warriors she had created using her mastery with sewing and clothing. Puppets. You think these playthings can defeat me? Doflamingo asked. Chuckling *, don't underestimate the artistry of my work, Doflamingo, Senjimaro said. These were similar puppets that the original Senjimaro called the Soul King's Blade. But they were even greater than the ones from the TYBW. The puppets moved with incredible speed, their movements synchronized as if controlled by a single mind. Doflamingo smirked and swiped his hand to slash the puppets. Gashikito, Doflamingo says. 5 strings came out from his fingers, slicing through the puppets with ease. However, each puppet disintegrated into strings and clothes. Due to Senjimaro infusing the puppets with her Ryatsu, they reformed into new shapes. She remained elusive, her speed and agility unmatched. She weaved through the battlefield, creating more and more puppets with every step. Over the course of her training, she had learned how to use the strings of Doflamingo himself to her advantage and create new puppets with them. She did that by infusing the strings with her Ryatsu, cutting off Doflamingo's control over them. The air crackled with spiritual energy as the puppets closed in on Doflamingo from all sides. Enough games. I'll cut through every one of these strings. Doflamingo unleashed a barrage of strings in all directions, attempting to ensnare Senjimaro and her puppets. But she danced through the chaos, effortlessly avoiding the deadly threads. Seizing the opportunity, she closed in on Doflamingo, her fingers doing thousands of tiny movements. It's time to end this, Doflamingo, she said. She manipulated the threads around Doflamingo, creating a complex pattern that managed to ensnare him completely. It was the plan she came up with to overcome his Kenbunchaku Haki. The puppets converged, forming a barrier around him, their forms intertwining with the threads and creating a prison of sorts. Doflamingo struggled against the restraints, but Senjimara's mastery over the Ito no Mi and puppets was undeniable. With a flick of her fingers, she tightened the threads, trying to bind Doflamingo in a web of spiritual energy-infused strings. Sleep tight, Flamingo. Doflamingo's defiant laughter echoed through the night as Senjimaro Shitara stood there victorious, the moon bearing witness to the elegant dance of the threads, or so she thought. Her senses warned Senjimaro of danger and she retreated while also creating more puppets. An explosion rang out as Doflamingo used Houshoku Haki to break free of the bindings and punch a hole in his prison. Veins were throbbing on his forehead and he was angry. He saw himself as a king and as such, he unleashed his Houshoku Haki / Conqueror's Haki. Senjimaro didn't budge this time. She was stronger and her will was tempered by the constant training and fighting with him. If she could, she would also unleash her own Houshoku Haki right now. But her aura and momentum were different from his. It was one of conviction and refusal. Senjimaro understood who she was and what she wanted from her life. The future divine weaver and wife of Hades would never be defeated by this small human. She would win and kill this man. Birdcage, Doflamingo said and used his ultimate technique. He exudes immense amounts of strings from the center of a palm, unraveling it, which shoots high into the sky as a concentrated beam. When high enough, they diverge to rain down to all sides in an umbrella-like fashion to cover a large area, creating a gargantuan, razor-sharp wire-domed force field, slicing absolutely everything that passes through it. Senjimaro already knew this technique. She lost to it once. The last time, to be precise. But that won't happen again. She was waiting for him to use his ultimate move. And then he did. Doflamingo has reached the last stage of his Ito no Mi called Awakening, which allows him to transform the ground and buildings around him into strings for him to use and for his attacks and defense, extending his range and attack volume. God Thread, Doflamingo screamed. Doflamingo summoned 16 thick, Busos Hoku Haki-infused bundles of string that form sharp points, which he refers to as 16 Holy Assassin's bullets, and sends them at Senjimaro in a piercing formation. Senjimaro saw this happen and only watched this happen. As the attacks came close to her, she narrowed her eyes. This farce had gone on long enough. She could accept him having techniques that were this powerful and his mastery over his fruit was also impressive. But this was enough. She had had enough of this twisted man and his tenacity. She was Senjimaro Shitara and she was the divine weaver. A limit seemed to break and Senjimaro closed her eyes. Then just as she was about to get pierced, everything stopped. The strings all around stopped and didn't listen to Doflamingo anymore. Senjimaro began to move her artificial limbs and the entire battleground made of strings listened to her and moved as she wished. No, Doflamingo screamed and attacked Senjimaro with his armament Haki. Senjimaro blocked the attack with thousands of strings and slowly began to cut Doflamingo from all sides. More and more strings attacked him and his stamina began to wane as he had to cover his entire body with Haki. The entire ship was no longer there and it was all strings. Doflamingo had to use his strings to attach to the clouds before he fell into the water and drowned. But Senjimaro wouldn't let him. Any strings that were created were taken control of by the divine weaver and Doflamingo lost his footing. No, Doflamingo screamed as he tried to get close to Senjimaro who was just standing in the air. But it was no use. Senjimaro manipulated strings that came out of the sea and wrapped around Doflamingo, dragging him into the depths slowly. Quest. Special quest. Become the divine weaver. 2. Complete. Chapter 75, next one. I know that some of you don't like that Senjimaro has a system or that this part of Bleach is boring since the MC is not getting stronger. Well, I agree with you. It can be seen as boring for the MC, but that's not what this arc is about. It was for me to introduce the FML and make her stronger. That's also why the MC went to solo leveling, apart from the Shadow Monarch of course. After Bleach, we won't see the system in Senjimaro again. She won't need it afterwards. But I'm just having far too much fun with this. So at least try to enjoy it. Quest. Special quest. Become the divine weaver. 2. Complete. Senjimaro POV. I was standing there letting the situation sink in for a moment. Finally. I had finally defeated this dungeon and killed Doflamingo and his crew. It was much harder than the first special quest was. And technically I was indeed weaker than the pirate, but not by so much to warrant my first few losses. It was not about anything physical at the moment. It was about my mental strength and conviction. It was for me to understand what I truly wanted. I had to realize my beliefs and what it means to stand and fight for them. I also realized my pride. Pride in becoming the divine weaver and standing next to Hades. Because to stand next to him means that you have to be strong and that strength can only be wielded by those with the pride to carry it. Otherwise, you will fear your power. No, I am interested to see what my rewards are going to be. Rewards. 1. Gain 1 special item. 2. Bonus stats plus 3. Undisclosed reward. I accept the first reward. 1. Gain 1 special item. Item name, Runestone. I see. I gained a runestone. That is a stone that contains a skill of any kind. So I gained a skill. So let's see the runestone. Runestone, thread/string manipulation. What? The skill that I have been working so hard for is thread/string manipulation. That's just, sigh, I feel ripped off. At least let me see the skill first before I complain. Hades has never let me down with these rewards. I take the runestone into my hand and crush it. Then a notification appears. Skill, thread/string manipulation, LV.1, gained. Users can create, shape and manipulate all sorts of threads and string. This grants the user the potential to manipulate and create strings that range from simple threads that make up clothes to much higher degrees like the red string of fate or quantum strings. The potential in this skill is boundless. Notice, user already unlocked skill, thread/string manipulation on her own. Compensation being calculated. Compensation choices. 1. Plus 50 LV to skill thread/string manipulation. 2. Plus 100 AP. 3. Grade C weapon of user's choice. __. I see now. So I unlocked this skill in the last moments of my fight with Doflamingo. So I was able to control his strings that way. I am surprised about the potential of this skill. It said that it has boundless potential. I thought I had the power to seal my enemies with my Bankai and so their fates. But it would seem that I am not doing that on a grand scale. Also, what are quantum strings? Now for the compensation. I don't think that the plus 50 LV is a good idea. Using threads and strings is almost all I do, all the time, so leveling up to LV 50 is not that amazing. Although it doesn't say to level 50, but plus 50 levels. That means that the skill could already be at level 100 and it would then add 50 to that. I know that the second option is bad and I am not interested in that. The grade C weapon. I don't know. Grade C seems very low. Although, I have to think on a grander scale. What would a Zanpakuto's grade be? A. Or maybe B. I think I will take the first option. It is a gamble but I just don't feel like a weapon would suit me that much. For now, I'll pick option 1. 1. Plus 50 LV to skill, thread/string manipulation. Thread/string manipulation LV.122. Interesting. So that means that I was only at level 72 concerning the string manipulation. I wonder what the scale is for me only being at that level before. There have to be some truly powerful string users out there. Also, this feeling and understanding of strings I just gained, it's marvelous. That changes things. I can see that I was indeed quite crude in the use of my strings. But now let me collect my second and third rewards. 2. Bonus stats plus 20 received. Well, that is very unsatisfying. But I guess I can't complain. Now finally to the last and final step. If the last quest told me anything, then this should once again be a dungeon key. I wonder what this will be. Undisclosed reward, item. Name, Jolin Kyujo, dungeon key. Item class, F. Type, key. Description, a key that allows you to create an instant dungeon containing Jolin Kyujo from the world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Jolin as a stand user, has the power to unravel her body into string and freely manipulate it. Well, isn't that interesting? This dungeon key is one level below the one before it. The last one was an E-ranked dungeon, and this one is an F-ranked one. So that means it should be easier to do, but why is this the third dungeon key I gained? Why not give me this one before the Doflame no one? I think I know why. It must be that the mental challenge was what made the last one so hard. That or the skill of this woman makes this challenge harder than it seems. I don't really know whether defeating her is part of the next special quest, but it stands to reason that it is. Quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 3. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. Quest requirements. Defeat Jolin Kyujo. No use of your Zanpakuto allowed, no movement allowed. Reach thread/string manipulation, LV, rewards. 1. Gain 2 special items. 2. Bonus stats plus 3. Undisclosed reward. So I was correct. The next special quest is not truly hard. Although only using my strings is not easy. And I'm not allowed to move as well. This means I truly have to defend myself well with my strings. That will be hard because as soon as she makes me move, I lose the quest. This one shouldn't be hard, I think. Hades POV. I was sitting in my garden when these two came and began to bicker with each other. I was here before you, so that means that I have the right to train with him. Why do you even come here? Did my last beating demoralize you so much? Furofushi asked. Are you mad? I clearly almost beat you, so get in line. I am your senior and knew Gojo-sensei much sooner than you did, Nobitsuna argued. You didn't almost beat me. I allowed you to tie with me and that is all there is to it. So why don't you get your ugly visage out of here before I do it for you, the small woman said to the overly large man. Their height difference usually made this a fun spectacle to watch, but today I was just not in the mood for their bickering. If something didn't happen soon, I might leave the Bleach world again for a short trip to another universe. I heard that Rick Sanchez from Dimension C-137 finally killed Rick Prime. That might be an interesting talk I could have with him. After all, everyone that dies eventually comes to me. That's enough, you two. If you wish to train, then you both can do that at the same time. There should be more than enough room in the training facilities for both of you. And if you wish to spar, then you can do that as well. If you kill yourself, however, then don't do that on my property. Is that understood? I tell them. Yes, yeah. Good, now what is it that you two wish to train? I ask them. They look at me like they have never seen such a handsome man, even though they have just yesterday when they were here. What is it? I ask them. Well, we're just surprised. Normally you are the one to tell us what we still lack, Nobitsuna said. Yeah, what he said. I see. Well, you see, I am not in a very good mood today. So I thought that you could train either with each other or with the mannequins, I tell them. Oh. Does someone have a heartache? Furofushi asks coyly. This makes me raise one of my eyebrows at her. I don't know where you get your confidence from, but I guess I could put you two through the ringer for a while. This makes them sweat and scared. However, it is too late for them to get out of it now, and Hades makes them wish they hadn't come today. Furofushi POV. Oh my Hades, that was brutal, I say with my face buried in the towel I'm lying on. After the training, Kikimaru and Fujin both took us to our respective areas in the spa and helped clean ourselves. Although we had to do it ourselves, the two only brought us all that we could ever need. Nobitsuna and I knew better than to disrespect the two Zanpakuto who acted as a butler and a maid for Hades. That only happened once. Flashback. Nobitsuna and I had just finished our fighting session and were now relaxing in the sleeping area of the spa. We had never heard of something like this. A place where you could just relax and enjoy your time. That was a new concept to us. Usually, we slept in the blood and gore of our enemies and didn't have a problem with that. Nobitsuna was even worse, as he used poison that corroded his enemies and that stench would never go out of his clothes. But today was bound to be different. We were allowed to use the facilities by Iman and he told us to follow the servants. I didn't even bother to memorize their names. I only respect power and these two obviously don't have any. As the female leads me to my area, the men led Nobitsuna to his area. I was not able to hear what these two were saying, but I know that Nobitsuna is not friendly. He can't be friendly, it's not in his nature to be. But I am the same, I guess. I take a bath and then I'm led to a quiet area. The girl woman says that it is an area where you are supposed to be quiet. We are here, Miss Shigeo. Master Gojo has created this area to be a silent area. It is meant for you to sleep or simply relax. You may also have some warm tea or a small snack if you so desire. I would be happy to bring it for you, she says. I despise her small smile. I feel like she is insulting me or looking down on me for not knowing about these things. I can see Nobitsuna walk into the silent area as well. He looks as confused as I am. After a moment of looking around, he sits down and then just waits for something. After a moment the male servant walks in and hands Nobu his tea. I'm not sure what that is. Nobu takes it and sniffs for a moment. Then he has a disgusted look on his face and turns around to the servant. What is this? He asks him. I beg your pardon, sir. Are you trying to poison me? Heh? Do you think you can brew me this shit of a tea and then call yourself a servant? I apologize dearly, sir. I'll change it right dash. You will do no such thing. Someone as weak as you should be thankful to lick my feet, and yet here you are looking me in the eyes and serving me this shit. And you call yourself a servant? Nobitsuna asks and actually hits the man. He hits him in the stomach and sends him to the floor. Boom. A monstrous pressure falls on both of us. I have never felt something like this. I feel like I am dying. No. I am dying. I can see my body slowly dissolving into reishi due to the pressure. I feel my bones crack and blood vessels burst. But I'm not even the one who is getting the worst of it. Nobu, he is lying on the floor with his face kissing the ground. I can see blood around him. The sudden attack must have taken him by surprise. But I know only someone who could do that. I look to the entrance of the room and see him standing there, with his hands behind his back and an emotionless face that just makes all of my senses go haywire. Iman, oh oh. Chapter 76, Time Skip. Furofushi POV. I watch as Iman walks towards Nobu, very slowly. He looks down on him with contempt and disgust. I have never seen such a look on him and I have known him for years now. He seemingly lessens the pressure on Nobu, but not on me. I am still forced to use all my power, just to survive and not end up a meat paste on the floor. Stand up. Sensei dash. Silence. I said stand up, Iman screams. Nobu slowly stands up and looks at Iman. I am sore dash. I said silence. Shut the F***ck up. This is not your home. Nobu doesn't say anything. It was at this moment that he knew, he F***ed up. Am I stronger than you, Iman asks. What? Am I stronger than you? Why yes. Then why, aren't you licking my shoes? I mean. What's wrong? Isn't that how it goes? Someone as weak as you should be thankful to lick my feet, wasn't that what you said? Please You what? Didn't think. Aren't strong enough. Don't you know where my shoes are? Let me show you then, Iman says and punches Nobu with a left hook. Nobu's head shoots to the side and normally I would expect his body to follow suit, but something held him in that position and only blood flies out of his mouth. Iman must have made sure that he wasn't moving away. Oh, he's so F***ed. Well. Did that help? Iman asked. When Nobu doesn't answer, he punches him again but this time in the stomach. More blood falls to the floor. See, they're down there. Let me show you again. An uppercut hits Nobu on his chin. I can hear a crack as his head snaps back. Before he can recover, not that he ever could, Iman delivers a jab at Nobu's face and now Nobu's body flies into the wall. What is it, Nobitsuna? Are you ready to lick my shoes yet? Iman taunts as he walks towards him. And then, the most one-sided beatdown in the history of the world happens. I watch as Nobu manages to, somehow stand and look at Iman. The jaw of Iman is clenched to the maximum and he punches Nobu with his left fist. Nobu turns around but in the air, Iman delivers a right hook to his ribs and right after an elbow with the same arm. Another punch with the left and another one with the right. He mixes and get punches and elbows, throwing him around like a rag doll. Then he grabs Nobu by the hair and brings his head down to meet with his knee. Insert Broly vs. Frieza. What's wrong, Nobitsuna? Do you feel weak? You come into my home and enjoy my privileges, right hook, left hook, elbow, and then you go ahead and disrespect my family, roundhouse kick, never do that again. Crack. I hear a crack and think that it will now finally stop. But I'm wrong. Iman raises his leg and frontal kicks Nobu into the wall, he repeats this a few times to make sure that he truly is knocked out. He might as well be killed by now. I make a decision. I can't let this go on any longer. I run in front of Nobu's figure in the wall and spread my hands to stop Iman from continuing. He looks at me for a moment and then, something hits me on my right temple and after that. I only know that I made contact with the wall on the other side. I was later told that Iman didn't stop there. He continued for a while and then punched Nobu through the roof and left him on the street of the Rakangai. Flashback end. We never said anything ever again. It took close to a century of Nobu apologizing and a good word of Kikimaru that we were even allowed close to the premise again. And another century for us to speak with him again. Iman wasn't happy about the disrespect and Nobu took that lesson to heart. Don't mess with those weaker than you, just because you can. Time skip. Third-person POV. Many years have passed since that incident. Hades has met with most of the first-generation captains of the future Godai 13. And he has taught about half of them. A lot of them were once in his Kido class. He rather enjoyed the Kido class. He came up with different ones to pass the time. And not surprisingly, most were classified as forbidden Kido. Hades had watched his love's progress and was impressed at the speed at which she plowed through those. In total, she had managed to complete Special Quests 3 and 4 and was now close to finishing the 5th one as well. But more on that later. Her self-confidence had risen tremendously together with her power and skills. She didn't take much time off from training and fighting as she needed something to take her mind off of her desire to see her lover again. But that went both ways. We are now close to 1200 years before the story starts. A few years ago, an event alerted Hades and he could feel his dead friend after a long time again. Well, it wasn't his friend per se but his energy, or essence. His son had been born. Hades was walking through the woods of the world of the living and approaching the location he could feel the boy he was looking for. Calling him a boy was not quite right though by human standards as he was close to 20 years old. But for Hades that was but a mere infant. He had visited him already 20 years ago and saw the phenomenon that was going on. He was considered a wonder child. Hades watched as the young man trained. He was going through the motions of swordsmanship. The reason for that was that he couldn't absorb reishi like normal Quincy's. He could give, but not take. And if he didn't have his special talent, which we are going to call soul distribution, he would have been killed a long time ago. As a baby, the boy could not see, hear, speak, or even move. Despite this, he was not afraid and would not have cried even if he could, because he knew, despite having no means of survival, that he would continue to live on. The people around him treated the boy with great reverence because everyone who touched the child found that they gradually gained something which they lacked. This occurred because the boy possessed the power to share pieces of his own soul distribution. Those who touched him received fragments of his soul, and those fragments healed the wounds that their own souls alone could not. At the same time, as their wounds slowly healed, the various qualities of each person, such as their knowledge, abilities, talents, and so on, were all ingrained into the boy's soul fragments that they carried until those fragments returned to him at the moment of the carrier's deaths. Even though none who touched the boy lived for much longer, the people continued to gather around him, in search of his healing prowess. As he regained the fragments of his soul that he had shared, the boy's body began to gain function, which it lacked before. He gained senses and more. With each person who died and sent his soul fragment back to him, along with the soul of the person itself, he grew stronger and gained something in return. In time, when his deaf ears became able to hear, Yawach realized the people had begun to call him by an unusual name, Yawach. Greetings, child. You seem to be practicing your swordsmanship. Impressive talent you have there, Hades said after he walked out of the woods. Yawach turned around and looked at the men whom he hadn't even felt approaching. He had an expressionless face with straight black hair and red eyes. Hades saw the interest in the boy's eyes and smiled. He could see the similarities between him and his father. It was nostalgic for him. Who are you? My name is Gojo Iman. You must be Yawach, nice to meet you. How do you know my name? The boy asked. Well, that is an easy question. Because I heard others call you that. It is the name that you decided on keeping, is it not? Hades asked him. Yes. When I heard them call me by that name. And I understood this was the name of the god whom these people worshipped, but chose nonetheless to make that name my own. I see. So you see yourself as a god? Wouldn't you? Haha, I do indeed see myself as a god, but my situation is different from yours. You are a Quincy, are you not? I am. Why do you ask? Because I find that interesting. You see, given your heritage, it is not wrong to see yourself as such, Hades said cryptically. Given my heritage? What do you know about my heritage? I know your father, boy. And he was a wonderful woman. What? Haha, a little joke there. No, don't worry. But I did indeed know your father. What do you mean did? Is he no longer alive? Asterisk sigh asterisk. No, he is not. I am sure that you will find out the truth sooner or later, but from what I can tell you, Ray is dead. Ray, was that his name? It is what I named him after all. But here he is known as Rayo, which means the Soul King. But the name I gave him was Ray. You gave him that name, you must be old then. What are you doing here? I am just here to see you, Hades said. See me? What for? What do you want from me? Is it my power that you want? Calm down, child. I am in no way interested in your power the way it is now. You don't have to worry about that. No, I wanted to see you and see what the son of my old friend was like. Say, since you're practicing swordsmanship, would you like me to give you some tips? Tips? Sure, why not? The two then spent the rest of the day sparring and talking about various things. Hades told the young Yawach about the time he had met his father and the power his father wielded. That was something he seemed to be interested the most. Yawach wanted to know what the world was like before his father arrived. He seemed to be intrigued about the prospect of no suffering. Hades could see it in his eyes, the future Yawach was probably about to be formed right now. Why are you so interested in the time before your father arrived? Hades asked. I am interested in the fact that there was no life and death at that time. It must have been wonderful. Wonderful is not the word you should use to describe that time. It was chaotic. Chaotic. Why was it chaotic? Because life has no meaning without death. And anything that is created has to be destroyed someday. For every beginning, there is an end. Otherwise, chaos is born. I don't say that I am against chaos, but I wouldn't want to live in such a world. Your father, well, he saw it similarly. Hollows were feasting on human souls, and the cycle that was called the cycle of Reishi was all the world was about. It was a sad world. Your father was the one who changed things and, well, you'll find out eventually. Hades stopped his story. What do you mean? Why did you stop? Can't you tell me more about it? I could, but not today. I think you need to go back and I do as well. It was nice meeting you. Yawatch. You as well, Iman. Chapter 77, Progress. Third-person POV. Senjimaro looked at her system screen. It had been a while since she did that. The last time was when she got the dungeon key and the requirements on how to clear it. Since the time when she finished the second quest and defeated Doflamingo finally, Senjimaro had cleared 3 more over the years. And while that might sound like little, it is quite good progress. So let us go over all the things she experienced. We left her when she got the 3rd special quest. Quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 3. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. Quest requirements. Defeat Jolin Kyujo. No use of your Zanpakuto allowed, no movement allowed. Reach thread/string manipulation, LV, rewards. 1. Gain 2 special items. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. It was not as easy as the requirements had you believe at first. Jolin Kyujo really made her earn her rewards. The fact that her stand was essentially connected to the soul allowed Senjimaro to see it. That didn't make it that much easier. The power of the stand was still very strong, but not enough to hurt Senjimaro after what she went through to defeat the Donkikso pirates. It was the no movement allowed part that required Senjimaro to get creative. As she grew more powerful, she managed to interfere with Jolin's use of her strings. That was in the beginning, and then by the end of it when Senjimaro defeated her, her control had gotten so good that she had finally reached LV.150 and could make Jolin dissolve into strings and then stitch her back together. But all in all, it was more of a task that seemed like the first one and not like the second one. It wanted Senjimaro to be creative and think outside the box. Make use of her powers in various ways and not just be straightforward. And she learned that lesson very soon. The rewards were interesting this time. Gain special item. Name, skill, unraveling, special. Item class, C. Type, runestone. Description, a runestone that allows you to gain the skill of Jolin Kyujo, unraveling. It has been enhanced by the Honored One to be special. It now resembles a Logia devil fruit. Gain special item. Name, skill, Saimai Kikken. Item class, A. Type, runestone. Description, a runestone that allows you to gain the skill Saimai Kikken or Life Return. A highly underestimated skill from the Marines of One Piece. Saimai Kikken. Saimai Kikken allows the user to completely control all of their body parts, even parts that cannot normally be controlled, such as hair. The user can also control their involuntary functions, such as digestion. These were the 2 special skills that Senjimaro got that day. She was initially surprised about the class of the second skill, Saimai Kikken. But she understood it later. The class of a skill generally factors in various aspects. Such aspects can be the potential of the skill, the power of the skill when you get it, how useful it can be and more. So Life Return having an A rating wasn't that surprising considering what you could do with the skill of controlling your own body. The bonus stats of plus 10 are not going to be talked about. It was very little, but the fight was also not physically staining. Undisclosed reward, item. Name, Ninja's Dungeon Key. Item class, D. Type, key. Description, a key that allows you to create an instant dungeon containing 3 of the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki was a group of shinobi that existed outside the usual system of hidden villages. This key consists of Sasori, Kakuzu, and Haiden. These 3 were criminals, all seeking their own agenda. The last reward was what surprised Senjimaro a bit. The reason why it surprised her was that there was a difference between this dungeon key and the ones before that. It seemed more violent and dangerous. There was a new theme to the dungeon that was different, and the text after she claimed her last reward confirmed that suspicion. Congratulations on clearing the 3rd special quest. You have cleared all 3 quests of the introductory level. Would you like to enter the middle stages of the special quests, or would you like to quit? Yes, continue. No, quit. Senjimaro didn't have to think about this. She had gotten a lot more powerful over the time she was here in the Royal Guard. Although it was only due to the system and Hades taking care of her indirectly, but still. She had found her purpose and held it in her heart. There was no way that she would give up at that point. So she pressed yes. Quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 4. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. You have finished the introductory levels. Welcome to the Big Luigs. We will start small and work our way up. Show everyone what you learned. Quest requirements. Reach Bankai, LV, Reach Puppetry, LV, Reach Thread/String Manipulation LV, Defeat the Ninja's Dungeon. Rewards. 1. Gain 1 special item. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. Now this was wild. Senjimaro had to defeat the ninja's dungeon and train all of her other skills as well. Her Bankai was hard to level up. It seems like she missed something there. Puppetry and string manipulation was something she was working on anyway, so getting to level 200 would come sooner or later. Senjimaro got to work and she soon found out why it was a D-rank dungeon. It was just so much harder than the other ones she had done. These ninjas were so versatile and sneaky. They didn't care about honor or prestige. They killed you with any method they could. It made sense for them to be called ninjas. It was a very new experience for Senjimaro after her fight with Doflamingo and then Jolan Kujo. Then there was the mountain of different abilities each of them had. Illusions, doppelgangers, clones, use of strings, multiple lives, and one was even fully immortal. Senjimaro used every skill she had to defeat them and she understood the requirements of the quest. One of the worst but most overpowered skills of these ninjas had to be their clones. Especially the shadow clones. There was no way for her to tell them apart, but with time, she managed to do that. She could tell that the clones didn't have souls. The souls were only in the real bodies, and that was something she used to move ahead and trick them instead. The first immortal, Kakuzu, was only a pseudo-immortal. That didn't make it easier. It only made him much more daring and dangerous during a fight. Sasori was a puppet user, just like Senjimaro, and she could prove her superiority. It was however a wake-up call when she saw the dedication of the man, who had turned himself into a puppet as well. Lastly, there was Haiden. Senjimaro didn't like him. He was immortal, and while he wouldn't die, he wasn't able to move after his head was cut off. So that was something. In the end, Senjimaro used her Bankai and sealed all of their fates in her work, showing off her new mastery over her Bankai at level 100. After that, it came to getting her rewards again. Her rewards were interesting, to say the least. She wouldn't say that she wasn't a bit disappointed about the small amount of reward she got. Senjimaro understood that it was her wish to grow powerful on her own, and if she got a lot of rewards, then it was equal to Hades gifting it to her. Gain special item. Name, skill, Ransatengai. Item class, B. Type, runestone. Description, a runestone that allows you to gain the skill Ransatengai, a Quincy technique which allows a Quincy to control their body like a puppet. Ransatengai. A high-level Quincy technique which allows the user to control their body parts using strings of Ryoryoku controlled by their brain, forming lines, or strings made of reishi. Using this technique, the Quincy can control their body like a marionette, allowing them to move freely despite paralysis, broken limbs, or any other force which would impede normal movement. Bonus stats plus 50. That was a very sad amount, but it is what it is. Senjimaro tried to not use her excess points. So she still had quite a lot spared up. Undisclosed reward, item. Name, Pirates and Marines Dungeon Key. Item class, C. Type, Key. Description, a key that creates an instant dungeon containing 3 powerful pirates and 3 powerful marines. They all originate from the world of One Piece. Quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 5. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. You have finished the introductory levels. Welcome to the Big Luigs. We will start small and work our way up. Show everyone what you learned. Quest requirements. Reach Reizon Tengai, LV, Reach Unravel, LV, Reach Saimai Kikken, LV, Defeat the Pirate and Marine Dungeon. Rewards. 1. Gain 1 special item. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. This was the last quest that Senjimaro had cleared over the years. And it was also the hardest yet. There was no comparison to any of the earlier quests. She got to know her adversaries closer, and she had to say that compared to them, Doflamingo was nothing more than mediocre. He was strong, don't get her wrong, but just not that strong. It was insane how powerful they were. No doubt, Hades made them more powerful to increase the difficulty of the quests. And she was only in the middle stages of the special quests. That meant that there had to be last stages as well. And if the difficulty increased that much, how much would they increase in the last stages? Now who were the 6 characters whom Senjimaro had to fight in her 5th quest? They were Akainu, Kizaru, and Kazan from the Marines, and Whitebeard, Kaido and Big Mom on the pirates' side. And they were all in their primes. Once again Senjimaro was confronted with the power of Haki. And this time, there was no comparing it to her fight with Doflamingo. The three emperors could use Houshoku Haki to such a degree that it was impossible for Senjomaru to even hit them. Every clash between them resulted in her loss. It was very frustrating. But once again, Senjomaru pulled through. She didn't give up. On the contrary, Senjomaru got to appreciate the sheer power of will that all of the 6 characters had. The admirals were truly powerful as well. Their Logia powers made them men she didn't want to fight against. And even less a 1 versus 6. But she had found a way to beat them over time. They weren't immune to attacks that targeted the soul. And she was a Shinigami as well as a future divine weaver. She got the idea to use the skill Unravel to act similar to a Logia fruit. Of course she did, it was what Hades had intended of course. Just like he wanted her to learn the skill Ransatengai to have her keep fighting, even if her body no longer could. That's what it meant to fight amongst the best, to keep pushing and breaking one's limits. Senjomaru POV. And now it was finally time for me to gain the rewards for the 5th quest. Gain special item. Name, skill, Haki. Item class, A. Type, runestone. Description, a runestone that allows you to gain the skill of Haki. Fighting style focus. Willpower manifestation. Haki is a mysterious power that allows the user to utilize their own spiritual energy for various purposes. All living beings in the world are capable of learning Haki, however, most people do not notice it or fail to awaken it. Finally, I can also use this skill. It is such a powerful skill. I had such trouble with this when fighting the 6 people from the One Piece worlds. Their wills were truly strong and for them to fight above their levels was mostly thanks to this, and Hades of course. It is a growth skill and I can see that it will only become stronger the stronger I become. A good reward indeed. Now on to the 2nd and 3rd one. Bonus stats plus 70. Undisclosed reward, item. Name, Vanessa Enoteka's dungeon key. Item class, B. Type, key. Description, a key that creates an instant dungeon containing Vanessa Enoteka, a powerful witch from the world of Black Clover. This particular witch has the power over string magic and can also control the magic over the red string of fate. Wow. I see now. Hades is clearly steering me towards this power over fate. I am not sure why though. He did tell me about the 3B*Gs that control fate and made his siblings into what they were, but for him too, do I want that? Yes. Yes, I want that. I know that Hades would never force me into something that I don't want, and even if I have this power, I am not forced to do anything. Fate is a powerful concept to have power over. So I am interested to see where this will lead me. Now let's see my 6th special quest. The difficulty of the quests gets higher and higher. This Bleach arc is not just about Hades and we can see it here. Senjomaru grows more and more powerful. She is still nowhere near as powerful as Hades, so she has a way to go. I can't wait to write about her later quests. Shit's about to go down. See you in a few days. Chapter 78, The Nuclear Chaos. It is imperative that you read this chapter with the deepest and slowest voice you can imagine. Very important. This is the deeper voice. Unknown POV. What an interesting moment in the story we are about to witness. Something never seen before is about to take place and we shall see it firsthand. Well, I can tell he has come a long way since the time he abandoned his sister Hestia in their father's stomach. Quite impressive indeed. His understanding and use of his power are very creative. But he hasn't changed that much yet. He is still wasting his time in that weak universe, instead of climbing the ranks. That is disappointing. Love. I guess that is the reason for it. What a useless emotion in the grand scheme of things. But what a powerful one indeed. He will have to shed himself of this weakness sooner or later. It's holding him back. But he will understand sooner or later and I will have to tell him then. I wonder how long it will take now. Oh. Some progress, it would seem. But why is he? I see. How sad for him. He can't cross the last hurdle at all, the most important one, some would say. It is interesting to see it happen like this. It has to have been eons now, since I last saw the process being attempted. What a disaster that was, truly tragic, humans would say. But in the end, it doesn't matter, nothing does. Interesting. I guess that shouldn't be possible. What did he do? How come he managed to pass that hurdle without understanding it and shedding himself from that weakness? That is a thorn in his side now. Is he helping him? No, he is not. Peculiar indeed. The anomaly, just like Soth said. I also can't understand it. And that is impossible. So weak and yet, so much potential. True limitless potential. Has anyone ever seen it? No, not even he has it. Hades POV. I open my eyes and see nothing. Absolutely nothingness. No, that's not true. I'm not seeing anything. I am indeed seeing nothingness. There is a difference. I do not see the absence of anything but the presence of nothing. It seems you figured that out very quickly, heir. I feel my soul and entire existence shake like a leaf in November weather. I, Hades, the formidable god of the underworld, whose stoic demeanor and unparalleled power have struck fear into the hearts of gods and primordials, found myself facing a terror, unlike anything I have ever experienced. It began with an ominous disturbance in the balance of the cosmos, a ripple that reverberated through the depths of nothingness and chaos. I, usually impervious to fear, felt an unsettling chill that pierced my soul. The nothingness in his realm seemed to twist and wrench in unnatural ways, whispering unknown secrets and echoes that sent shivers through the very essence of my being. The disturbance intensified, but whatever it was hadn't even said anything else. It was still the after effect of that one sentence. I sensed a presence that eclipsed even my wildest imagination. I immediately took my senses back, but it was for naught. I had to shut them off. It was far too painful. A force, boundless and unfathomable, began to advance upon the boundaries of my being. This entity emanated an aura of primordial dread, a power that transcended the order of the cosmos. That's it, there was no order or logic to this being. In the heart of his vast, foreboding nothingness, I faced the manifestation of my deepest fear. An entity, born from the chaotic void before the gods or creation itself was before me. Its form was ever-shifting, a nightmarish amalgamation of nightmares and forgotten horrors. The very air grew thick with an oppressive darkness, suffocating me, the god who had long been immune to the fear of death. True and absolute death was what I saw, the certainty of my end and the most absolute of ends ever. Unknown POV. I said one sentence, and look at him now. About to get destroyed. Never to be used or to exist again. What a disappointment. But I guess it was a bit much to speak to him even before he got used to the nothingness and chaos around here. Mean is the word I believe. Oh, look at that, the speck of dust in front of me, there is a fire in him. Is it his will? I see, marvelous indeed. So that's what he sees in him. That is a very powerful little will he has there. How cute. What did he do? He is getting better. I thought it would take another nonillion yog years. But he was quicker than that. A bit. Good for him. Third-person POV. The existence of Hades was slowly beginning to break apart like Thanos in the end of Endgame. But it was even more complicated. Everything about him was getting turned to nothingness. However, in the center of his being, there was a small spark. A small spark of Hades' will that was unwilling. Unwilling to let go. Unwilling to accept this situation. He was unwilling. From that unwillingness, the spark was ignited and an explosion was unleashed. An explosion of Hades' will. He refused the current situation and unleashed it outwards. Had he been on Earth or in the Bleach universe, it would have destroyed it entirely. But here, it didn't matter. It wasn't even so much as a breeze for the being that was watching him. He would have missed it if he hadn't been watching Hades. The pressure intensified and Hades began to reform. His body was remade from scratch and all the destroyed parts were discarded. It took a long time, and the power of his will was pressing against the chaos that permeated the nothingness. As time passed, Hades was growing weaker, and then finally, he was finished with his work and then passed out. Hades POV. I don't know how long it has been, but I finally managed to regain my consciousness and wake up. I feel strange. I don't know how I can put it into words, but this was a dangerous experience. The voice of him, it. I'm not sure, but the voice alone was enough to kill me. I guess it just doesn't matter. Am I right? You're right, little one. Nothing matters in the end. There is still the shiver that runs down my spine when I hear the voice. Just what? That's natural. You won't grow out of that any time soon. Now tell me, why are you here, little heir? I came to you for a request. I wish to get your assistance for a short time in the near future. I was wondering if you would like to open some eyes. So that's how it is, the reason for your spark. You are a lucky one. She's a keeper. I know. Very well. I will do it. Oh. Wow, that was easy. Thank you very much. See you. I will not explain what happened in this chapter. When the time comes, you will understand. Also, surprise you pissants. Chapter 79, Change. Third-person POV. Hayasobichibe came to visit today, Yawach said. What did he want? Hades asked. He came to propose a non-aggression pact between the Soul Society and the Lichtreich. The Shinigami are the keeper of the balance between the three worlds, and I should keep playing my game of being a king and let him deal with the important parts. And then he dared to call it a win-win for both sides. Yawach was angry. Hades could tell. He looked at the men who had grown up so much since he met him all those years ago. And what did you say? I called him out on his deception. He basically called me a child, an ignorant stupid child. I asked him about the past. What happened back then, when Father split the world into three and basically created life and death, Yawatch said and then looked at Hades. He tried to blame it all on the Soul King. That it was the Soul King who did those things. I asked him where one can find peace in this wretched world. Did he show you? He did. He showed me my father. Or what is left of him at least. I saw what was left of him and the seal they imprisoned him in. Why? Why what? Why did you never tell me? Because this is for you to find out on your own. No matter how much I wish, in the end, you are your own person and you must make your own decision. Now we are here and you are ready. Ready for what? For the truth, if that is what you are after. I want peace. I don't want others to suffer like I can feel that they do. Did he suffer? It did. It is similar to being in a state between life and death. The agony he must have felt had to have been agonizing. But the truth of the matter is more complicated. What do you mean? You see, when I met your father, he had just come into being. He was a newborn in a sense. The longer we spent together, the more he developed his own personality. He always had this drive that set him apart from others and even me. He was here for a purpose and that is what he would see through till the end. So when he came to me that day and told me what he wanted to do, he told me that it was his final wish for me not to intervene in the process. What? He knew this would happen. He sure did. He knew everything would happen. Just like you have your Almighty, Ray has his own pair of them. He knew that I wouldn't ever let it happen, so he phrased it as his last wish. Then, he wanted for it to happen the way it did. Why? I guess it started out as his purpose. The reason why he was created. It was in his nature to see the world prosper and not get destroyed. He created the life and death cycle because he understood that there is no meaning to life without death. You value what you have the most when it is finite. Death is an important part of reality, never forget that, Yawatch. But humans are in so much pain and they suffer. Why would he want that? How is this better than what was already there? At least you didn't have to be afraid of death before. You had to be afraid of hollows consuming you. It's essentially the same. The cycle of Reishi didn't work, even the world itself understood that and it sent your father to counter its inevitable destruction. But what about Ichibe Hyasub? He's one of the 5 pricks who sealed them. What about the other 4? Where are they? Did they die? They sure did. After a few weeks of having sealed your father, these assholes came to my place and wanted to seal me as well. Fear is a great motivator and makes you do stupid things. I killed them all and punished them with suffering. Ichibe is the only one still alive. And why didn't you kill him too? Sigh. I wanted to, but it was your father who told me to keep at least Ichibe alive. He of course foresaw his future role in balancing the 3 worlds. Listen, Yawatch, the truth is still different. Your father, he is no longer alive. I never lied about that. Ray died a long time ago, and no matter what way I think about it, he almost had me. It took me a while to figure it out but now I know. My friend died a long time ago. Don't try to go on a revenge quest. And if you do, make sure you prepare beforehand, Hades said and then left Yawatch alone to his thoughts. Hades' POV. I don't see a happy ending to this. And the truth of the matter is, I have stopped caring. I am unhappy with the way things are going right now. And if something doesn't change soon, I'll go crazy or I'll break into the Soul King Palace and massacre the monk and then steal Senjimaro away. She can get strong somewhere else that is closer to me. I haven't seen her in a millennium. I got reckless last year. I should not have visited him. I wonder why he agreed to my request. I guess he already knows what it is and who I am as well. It does make sense. Dude said one sentence and it almost killed me, that was the thrill that I was talking about. I didn't get that anymore. I need something to happen now. My future wife is getting stronger but I am stagnant, and I don't like that. I managed this long due to being the god of death as well. But I want to see different things and explore. There are dead to collect and dimensions to explore. Sigh. I wonder what Senjimaro will say when she gets to the quest after finishing the 9th and final special quest and finds out what I did just to give her some perspective. I think there is a good way for me to spend some time away. The Rick and Morty universe is an interesting place to be and the poor bastard, well he is miserable. Spoilers for Rick and Morty Season 7 if you haven't seen it, then stop here. Seriously stop if you don't want to get spoiled, it's not important for the story if you don't read it. You have been warned. Evil Morty had his eye connected to the computer connected to the Omega device. He was typing away and preparing to download the schematics. What are you doing? Morty Prime asked him as he walked up to him. Evil Morty didn't answer him. Instead, he finished his coding and opened the hatch that was below the screen, revealing a small core. He took it and then threw it into the Omega device. A cloud-like bubble surrounded the core of the Omega device and slowly shrank it, effectively destroying it or turning it off. Pretty cool visual, you're missing it, Morty Prime said. We don't have to talk, this didn't make us friends, Evil Morty said. At that moment the door to Rick Prime's control room opens and out walks a very bloody Rick. The look on his face tells the story of his entire life's pain. There's our guy, Evil Morty says. Rick. Is it over? Is he? That's not exactly an alive amount of blood, Evil Morty comments. Rick doesn't say anything and only looks back at Rick Prime's body. How does it feel? Better. No. Exactly the same. Yeah, it always does. I hope you're happy with your choice, Evil Morty says. F***ck off. I'm gonna. Just don't force me to improve on the design, Evil Morty says and shows a yellow hologram of the Omega device. I can end the Rick experiment anytime I want. Why threaten? Why not just do it? Because using the weapon like this doesn't get you left alone, Morty. Think I want a bunch of vengeful summers coming after me? You are a little different though, Rick. Maybe I can use this someday. Evil Morty opens a portal. But before he walks in he turns around one more time and gives Rick one last warning. Seriously though, F***ck. Don't come after me, it won't go well. After that, he walks in and leaves the two alone. Are you okay? Morty asks Rick. Yeah. Morty hugs Rick after that and exhales his stress out. That's how easy it appears to be for the boy. Just an omen and that's it. He then begins to deal with what they just experienced in his way and begins to talk about it. Phew, man, when those drones have cloaked back there, I was like. However, Rick doesn't hear him. He has to deal with the emptiness that now is inside his heart. He experienced the next few hours like a movie. They just passed by him. When he was in his secret lair underground he was about to shut it off, when someone spoke to him. You don't have to turn it down for good. I'm sure you will find other uses for it. Rick turns around and sees Hades standing there with his usual getup and the walking stick in his hands. Who are you? You may call me Hades, Rick of Dimension C-137. And I am here for you. And what would a god such as yourself want from such a broken man such as yourself? Something like that. I saw what happened. And I can see how you feel right now. You are the most miserable character in the show right now. What are you talking about? Listen, if this is about my soul, then no thank you, I have nothing to give anymore. Haha, it is indeed about your soul, Rick, just not in the way you think. You are dead inside right now. This is also why you haven't grabbed the device you have stored behind the wall there. You just don't care anymore. And if you wish, I can help you. And what F***ket up story are you going to give me now? Are you going to tell me that I need to swear eternal allegiance to you or become a slave or something, because if that's what you want then No. Stop dodging the question, Rick. Tell me what you want. Tell me. What are you talking about right now? Stop that. Who the F***ck do you think you are? You know what? F***ck, Rick says and grabs the device that Hades was talking about before and fires it at Hades. However, as it hits, it just makes a small poof sound and then disappears. Very anticlimactic. Now. I see that you aren't going to tell me what you wish, so I'm going to ask you directly. No. Don't even think about saying it. Would you like? No. Stop. Don't say it anymore. For me to bring. Stop. I don't want to hear it. Them back. No. Rick screamed, and he finally broke down. For some reason, he now finally broke into thousands of pieces and there was nothing there, no amount of intelligence or drive for revenge, that held him together. But someone was there, someone that shouldn't even be there right now. Hades was there for Rick. He was the shoulder that the nihilistic and broken genius cried on. What a weird scene. Unlike Morty, Hades understood that no words were necessary right now. Nothing had to be said and silence was the best thing right now. They both just sat there. Neither of them said anything. I don't want to. Are you Dash? I said I don't want to. You scared? Scared that the same thing might happen again. Scared that the weapon that was responsible for destroying Diane across infinite dimensions might do it again. Yes. Well, then you have to ask yourself this. Is that risk worth having them back? Are you insecure about that? But what about Beth here and Morty and Summer? What about them? What about them? You're a portal travel away and it didn't bother you before to switch up families, so why would it now? I guess you're right. Also don't worry about the eye patch, Morty, we'll pay him a visit after this. Now tell me your answer, Rick Sanchez of Dimension C-137, Hades said. Rick took a deep breath and then said it. I want. Well, there you have it. This might be the cruelest cliffhanger that I have ever created. I don't know whether this should even be published, but I can't stop myself. All this power, at my fingertips. Chapter 80, Reunion. Third-person POV. I want to have them back. And are you prepared for what it means to have them back? Not all men are created equal. I hope you understand what it means when I bring her back to you. I do understand. And I'll be ready. Good, Hades said and then touched Rick on the head. Rick passed out and a change began to happen to him. His body and soul both began to turn younger. Back to the time when the incident happened. It took close to 5 seconds and after that, a new, old Rick stood before Hades. Well, it was a new Rick but from long ago. You know what, it doesn't matter. He was young again. Did you just? Normally people finish the sentence at that point. Forgive me for not following the norm. I don't give a rat's ass about the norm. My entire existence is abnormal. But now let us get to the main part of this. Here, Hades says and produces something in his hand. A black and purple portal gun materializes. An improved version that Hades came up with on the spot after having looked at Rick's. Take this, at least for now. You can destroy it after we're done, Hades said, knowing what Rick thinks when someone is smarter or more advanced than him. A portal gun. Why would dash? Because Rick, you're going home. Home? So do I just, oh that is very convenient. Wow, that, pretty impressive, Rick says through his teeth. You can destroy it after we're done. Now come on. Chop chop. Rick points the portal gun and then fires. The portal is black and you can't see anything. The trick is that you must think about where you want to go and the portal shows it to you. You can also choose to see what is going on the other side, without it being see-through. No one can see you on this side but you can see them. They walked through and arrived at Rick's home dimension. Time loop. Time loop. Well then, let me get to work, Hades said and then changed his demeanor. He went from friendly to serious in a split second. Hades' shadow expanded more and more. It looked like the darkness was swallowing everything. What are you doing? Let me cook. Oh God. Yes. No. Forget it. The world trembled and was fully covered in blackness. Hades then focused on what he wanted to do and forced his will on reality to bring the state of the world to the moment he wanted. Reality broke like broken glass, multiple times. A cold wind blew through the concept of time, turning the clock back to the moment Hades wished. Hades could feel that the boundaries in this universe were very fickle. He could sneeze and create a wormhole. The laws were very loose here. If you had power, you were allowed to use it however you wished. Quite interesting. So he did it. Even though there was resistance to this. It seemed that Diane's and Beth's death in this dimension was something like a fixed point in time. But who cared? He was Hades and he would break that point however he wished. He got to that fixed point and saw it happen. He grabbed the metaphysical point in time. That moment, where it happened, was grabbed with his hands. He could feel the temporal and spatial forces that he held in his hands and, he was unimpressed. He did what anyone in his situation would do, he swallowed it. What? Spacetime has a good taste to it, once you come to appreciate it. It's true, believe me. Everything turned white and then, it was all over. Rick blinked a couple of times and saw that he was on the floor of his garage. He looked around and saw that nothing had changed. What a cruel dream. To think that such a twisted being like this Hades existed for it to feast on his hopes and dreams. Rick, is that you? He heard the voice of his wife. Yeah. Diane. You've been gone so long. Come in here, we have a guest, she said from the house. This made Rick stop for a moment. He hadn't programmed his AI to do something like that. Why would his AI, which he had designed to haunt him, invite him inside? He quickly made his way into the house and there he saw her. His wife, Diane. She was standing there and making food for the family and the guest. Rick didn't even see who it was that sat there. He only saw his Diane. He approached her and almost didn't dare to touch her, due to being afraid of her being a clone, hologram, or a dream. Rick. It's been so long, honey, you had a lot to go through, she said and looked at Rick. Diane, you. Are you? Yes. I am real. I am your Diane. Rick actually had tears in his eyes. For the second time this day. Rick Sanchez cried. He almost couldn't stop anymore. It all came out. All the things he did to get her back. All the things he had to go through to find his wife's and daughter's killer. It was all coming to the surface and poured out of him. There was no stopping it. But neither Diane nor Hades cared at that moment. He was polite enough to leave the two alone. He focused on something else right now. As he noticed, the boundaries were very fickle. He foresaw a lot of problems that would arise due to that. So he changed it. He manipulated the boundary surrounding this dimension and made it stronger. He made it impenetrable and impregnable for any and all beings. There was only one way to travel from into this dimension now, and he was sure that it would get on Rick's nerves. Diane and Rick as well as their daughter talked and talked and talked. For a long time. Days turned to weeks and those weeks turned to a month. Rick had not touched one screwdriver during that time and he didn't look eager to do it either. So Hades made a decision. He first wanted to take him with, outside the central finite curve, but now that he sees the three together, he will do it himself. He focused and then disappeared from the dimension. He got outside the curve and looked around. It was indeed very chaotic here. Although he has seen worse, much worse. He floated through the void and observed all the things that were happening. He saw Morty enjoying himself alone and away from any Rick. Hades made his way through the force field. No alarm was heard or anything like that. Greetings, Morty Smith of Dimension 79 right tac superset of or equal to V. My name is Hades and I believe we have something to talk about. What the F asterisk CK? How did you get in here? Morty said and grabbed a gun and fired it at Hades. There is no need for that. I am not here to hurt you. You say that, but you just appeared here without an invitation. Why would I believe anything you say? You will not believe anything I say either way. So let us skip the part where we establish who has the power in this discussion and get right to the point, Hades says and taps Morty on the forehead. Morty's mind was blown. He got to see some of Hades' minuscule power. He showed Morty some of the darkness that was his future, should he not listen right now. Hades didn't care. He was not a good person. He was a hypocrite and that was all there was to it. He helped those he wished and because he could. He was in no way a hero. So if Morty didn't want his help, he wouldn't kill himself just to make him accept. Now, I am here to talk about the Omega device. What about it? Do you want the schematics? No, Morty, I don't want anyone to have these schematics. No matter how smart you are, something of that magnitude is not a device anyone should have. I am here to delete all the information concerning the device. I hope that you can delete it. It is a failsafe against Ricks, should they ever come here and bother me. They are unhinged and need to be kept in check. You are correct. But to punish everyone for the mistakes of few is not right, don't you think? They are all like that. Not one is innocent. They believe that their intelligence allows them to use everyone and everything however they wish. They are a menace and need to be dashed. I understand that. But again, the Omega device does not care and destroys everyone across the limitless dimensions. So how about instead of using such a device you go about it differently? How? If you are serious about keeping them in check, then you can use your intelligence to be more active about it and hunt those that do evil. But if it is only about keeping them away from you, then that is even more reason for me to destroy it. I want to be left alone. Good. Then do that. I'm sure that you are the only one with a portal gun that can come here. As for defense, I am also sure that you could create something. But the Omega device is not necessary. Please destroy it. Okay. Thank you. Morty went ahead and connected his eye to a computer and, seemingly, deleted everything. Hades, however, knew the truth. All done. Do you think that a 14-year-old teenager can fool me? Don't insult my intelligence, Morty. What are you talking about? I see. It would seem that in your attempt to escape Rick, you had to become him. I am sad for you. But I guess desperate times. I am nothing like him. Hades didn't answer him and instead took things into his own hands. He focused on any and all weapons which had the ability to destroy someone across infinite dimensions. He then turned them all to nothing, so that all information and material was gone forever, never to be salvaged again. NOO, what did you do? I erased any and all information about the device across time and space. If you want to keep the Ricks away now, you will have to be more creative. Goodbye, Morty, I hope you will find your peace here, Hades said and then finally disappeared. Rick was in the garage. He had a big smile on his face. He was happy for the first time in 50 years. He was finally happy again. He was also worried. Worried that the past could repeat itself and he would lose them again. Hades was right. The fact that there is an infinite number of things doesn't make the one you have less special. On the contrary, it makes it just that much more special. He didn't know why, but he felt the same way. He was going to preserve this feeling and keep watch over his family. But he would make them first priority every time. Rick had Hades' portal gun in his hands and went to the pressing plant. Hades was right. He was still not going to accept technology that he hand-created himself. And if someone else got this into their hands, well, that would be bad. He thought about researching it and then creating it himself, but he thought better of it. He was going to destroy it. He put the portal gun under the pressing plant and activated the machine. The machine began to make weird sounds and then, it broke down. What? That shouldn't be possible. Did you believe that I was just going to let you destroy it, Rick? A hologram appeared from the portal gun. Hades. In the hologram. I made this to be a multipurpose tool for you. Destroying it won't do. It is a literal plot device to get out of hairy situations. Also, destroying it is not good, since I locked Dimension C-137 down from interdimensional travel. What? Why would you do that? How would I get to Morty, Haha, it seems you understand. Don't worry. No one, other than you, can use it. Do you think I would bring Diane and Beth back only to then have them die the same stupid way again? But, why would you go that far for me? What's in it for you? What are you talking about? Isn't it obvious? I like Diane. She's lovely and smart and Beth is so cute. I can hardly wait to have children of my own. Well then, Rick. Even if it doesn't look like it, this was a recording. I just knew what you were going to say. Haha, that was my evil plan all along. What's with that deadpan on your face? I dealt with the eye patch, Morty, by the way. So you won't have to worry about it anymore. Oh, and by the way, I gave Diane a phone with my number. So now she can call me if you turn insane again and want to leave, so you better not. Goodbye, Rick, I'll catch you later. And then the hologram finished, leaving Rick alone in the garage. Haha, what a prick. Chapter 81, Another Time Skip. Senjimaro POV. Finally, after all this time it was time for me to see him again. I think I'll just leave now. I've had enough of this. Well, actually it is time for us to welcome a new member into the Zero Division. Tenjiro Kirinji is the one who invented Kaido. This is not even true since it was Hades who invented Kaido along with 99% of all the other Kido as well. But for some reason, they can't give Hades the credit and now it is Tenjiro who gets accepted into the Royal Guard. But all of that is unimportant. I am going to see him again after all these years. I can't wait. The Quincy War was unpleasant for Hades. He tried to make his father see reason, but he was too far gone. Hades said that he expected it to happen anyway. I don't understand it, but I am fine with it. The Shinigami student of Hades, Shigekuni Yamamoto, established an organization called the Godii 14 to fight for and protect the Soul Society. I wonder how they managed to coax Hades into this mess. I can't see him attend any meetings or follow orders from anyone. Unsurprisingly, the Quincy War was over faster than they could blink. Hades showed why he was the god of death and the underworld in his ruthlessness. No matter who it was, he killed them and the war ended very quickly. We made our way to the Tenshurin. I don't think I have seen these two for the last millennia. I was busy training and spending time on my own. I wouldn't spend time with the Chibe Hyasub even if he was the last man alive. Oi Senjimaru, how have you been, yo? Otsu asked. I've been good, Otsu. So you excited to go down again? It's been a while. I am indeed excited to go back down after all these years. We stand in the Tenshurin and it fires us down towards the Siriidii. After a few seconds, the Tenshurin lands and the door slowly opens. I can hardly contain my excitement. I can feel him. I can feel his presence. Since I have learned hockey, I have gotten very good at distinguishing between individuals. And I have no doubt that he is the brightest and also the darkest presence here. His power is almost blinding. I need to be careful when I use Kenbunchika hockey next to him. Oh, it seems he noticed and toned it down. What a man. We walk out of the Tenshurin and Ichibe greets everyone here. Welcome to the Siriidii, Monako Osho, Yamamoto Shigekuni says. I have only eyes for one person here. I see him standing to the back, not at all concerned with the pleasantries and only looking at me with a smile. I can feel his emotions, he feels the same way I do. Without staying any longer, I flash to him, grab him, and then flash away to his home. He lets me take him, of course, but that is natural. I don't control my speed and we end up somewhere in the Rakongai. I stop and face Hades, we look at each other with burning intensity. And then, we kiss. Finally, after all these years. I missed you. Senjimaru. I missed you too. I want to speak and tell him how much I regretted my decision to leave him and become strong on my own, but he stops me. It is a decision I can respect. So don't look down on your choice. Come, let us go somewhere nicer. Third person POV. Hades and Senjimaru talked for hours. It was mostly Senjumaru telling Hades about her experiences, what she learned and how she had grown. She expressed the disapproval and also the happiness of some of the special quests. Hades listened to her for hours. He didn't care about whether she had to go back, this was their moment together. I still can't believe that you made me fight someone who isn't even born yet. And there are 3 of those. They are seriously strong, Hades, Senjumaru complained about the special quest. So you have passed the 6th one and are now doing the 7th, that is impressive Senju. I have no doubt that you will defeat those 4 quickly. What do you think of them? I like Shirari a lot, but she is very dangerous. She has the most skills of all 4. The one who calls himself Ryaman Sukuna is a monster. He doesn't care about anything but slaughter and I despise him for that. But I can't help but respect his strength. Especially that domain expansion, malevolent shrine. Very devious. Then there is the Shinigami Hollow hybrid. Sosuke Aizen. He will be born here and you just outright make me fight him at his peak. What are you thinking? But I guess it doesn't matter. His Zanpakuto, Kyoka Suigetsu would be a problem since he doesn't even have to show you his release to trap you. Haki came in clutch though and the only problem is his immortality. But I have this covered. Then we have the last one. The alien conqueror Boros. He is pure power. There is no subterfuge or anything like that. His power is outrageous but not impossible for me to handle. Especially after training for so long, Senjumaru explained. So you are about to finish this one as well. You have truly grown more powerful Senju. I am proud of you. Hades. I don't want to go back. I don't care about those stupid rules and customs. I just wish to stay with you. That can be arranged. I'll just create an illusion and make it seem like you're still here and we'll leave. I wanted to show you the underworld for a very long time now. So if you wish, we can go back to my home universe and you can train there. You know what? I'd like that. Let's do it. As you wish. Senjumaru and Hades left the world of Bleach and went on the journey to go back to DC. During this travel, Hades slowed down time to give Senjumaru time to train. She wasn't ready for DC yet. The 7th special quest was not easy but when you compare it with the DC comics, it isn't anything special. No matter if Lord Boros could destroy the planet, Superman could do that by just stepping too hard. There are so many ridiculously powerful characters in DC that Hades found it important for Senjumaru to grow and finish the special quests 7 and 8 as well. Quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 6. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. You have finished the introductory levels. Welcome to the Big Luigs. We will start small and work our way up. Show everyone what you learned. Quest requirements. Reach Haki, LV, reach thread/string manipulation, LV, defeat, Vanessa Enoteka, amped. Rewards. 1. Gain 1 special item. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. That was the special quest number 6. It wasn't anything outrageous. Vanessa Enoteka was amped up to have similar physical capabilities as Senjumaru. The only problem then was Vanessa's magic, the red string of fate. This was a very tricky and also powerful magic which allowed Vanessa to manipulate the fate of anything the small red cat touched. This made defeating her annoying and quite a task, but Senjumaru managed to pull through. It wasn't hard to dodge the small cat with Haki but killing Vanessa was harder than it seemed. Her speed and the small cat were always there when she needed it. The cat itself was not killable, since it wasn't alive to begin with. So, Senjumaru did the only thing that made sense to her. She did what the quest wanted of her. She leveled up her thread manipulation to take control over the small cat and stop the technique. It was what Hades wanted to teach her. On one hand but on the other, Senjumaru got to understand the small cat and the power it held. Fate, such a powerful tool. This weak woman was made so annoying and powerful with just the small-scale manipulation of fate. Once Senjumaru was powerful enough to take control of the small cat of fate, she began to research and feel the changes that made the red string of fate so powerful. So Senjumaru would not clear the dungeon just to get more and more familiar with the technique of Vanessa. And it was worth it. After some time of getting more familiar, Senjumaru was able to use something similar. The feeling of manipulating fate was not unlike her Bankai. That was a major feat on her part and the dungeon was instantly cleared after that. Congratulations on figuring out the power of fate on your own. Special rewards will be given. Gain special item. Name, skill, red thread of fate, special. Item class, A. Type, runestone. Description, a runestone that allows you to gain the skill of Vanessa Enoteka. It allows you to gain minor control over fate. This was huge, but also not really. Senjumaru had figured this out on her own, just by observing the technique. But she couldn't complain, especially when the next text appeared. Additional rewards. Due to figuring out the skill on your own, the system has granted the user plus 50 LV to the skill. Now this was huge. A plus 50 in levels was something that required her to have a deep understanding of fate. But she was just gifted this for free. It showed how her hard work was rewarded. She was thankful for that and also surprised. This was the way for her into the big leagues. Fate was unexplored territory for her. The plus 30 AP was nice but nothing amazing. What was amazing and a bit scary was the last reward. The next dungeon key. Undisclosed reward, item. Name, Powerhouse's dungeon key. Item class, A. Type, key. Description, a key that allows you to create an instant dungeon containing 4 powerful characters from across the multiverse. They aren't what you would call good people, but maybe you'll enjoy one of their companies. Enemies. Sosuke Aizen, TYBW. Ryaman Sukuna, 20 fingers. Lord Boros, full power. Shirari, Zoa ELE. These were the rewards for passing the 6th special quest. And now she was on her 7th quest. Special quest. Become the Divine Weaver. 7. They might call you Divine General of the North, but that is nothing but a meager title. Become the one and only true Divine Weaver, and collect special rewards. You have finished the middle levels. Welcome to the Big Luigs. We have arrived at the last 3 stages. The difficulty has risen tremendously. Show everyone what you learned. Quest requirements. Reach HAKI, LV, reach Red String of Fate Manipulation, LV, defeat the Powerhouse Dungeon. Rewards. 1. Gain 1 special item. 2. Bonus stats plus. 3. Undisclosed reward. This was the 7th quest and Senjumaru was not quite finished with it. But she was making tremendous progress and was soon to be finished with this. So what do you want me to do? I want you to try and clear the dungeon. I will see what went wrong, and we will discuss it afterwards. That will increase the speed at which you can go back and try again. I see. So you will heal me afterwards as well. Certainly. Cool, then let us start. They spend the journey across universes and back to the DC universe training like this. It wasn't long before Senjumaru finally defeated the 4 characters and cleared the dungeon. This meant that she would not be able to get to the second to last special quest. Hades had prepared something very special for the last stage after she had cleared all the special quests.